All right, we are live. Yeah, baby. It is Wednesday night. It is a Pontificator's night, and we are going to rock your socks off, as the kids say these days. I really need a haircut. I kind of like this thing going on here, but I don't really like the sides. Maybe I could just trim it myself, and definitely the beard needs a trimming. But you know what? Yeah, maybe next time you see me, I'll be all cleaned up. But you know what? It's not gonna matter because we got quite a show for you tonight. We got some pontificators in here. We got Clint, we got Bob, and we got a bunch of stuff for you. Also, you guys, as always, a sign of life in the chat. This is interactive, so you guys want to crack jokes, you want to add to stuff, feel free. We got Ray, give a thumbs up. Yeah, you guys, give a thumbs up. And leg kick, hell to leg kick as well. So yeah, we're gonna talk about, well, you know what? Clint found this thing, Clint Helinski, and it's really cool. It's I don't know, it's AI and it's Chris Reeves, and it's kind of like these cool, like it's Chris Reeves as Superman, and I can't even describe it because it's just really cool, and it's just one of those things you have to see. So he's got that. Hopefully, he's got that ready to go. We got Edwin Buzz, Hell the Pontificators. Yeah, you guys. And yeah, we're just gonna have a lot of fun. So without further ado, let's get the sexiest man in CG. Let's get him on stage. Boom, baby.
Gentlemen, what's everybody
I like
doing
that you're
tonight?
so, like, this is so big, like you got to, like, whoa, like it's too much for the camera.
I like the perspective.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You can see the hair on my knuckles.
Yeah, your camera's doing its job. Oh, and by the way, you guys in the chat, Clint said when we were backstage, he said he's been drinking a little bit, so if he gets a little saucy, he goes push back on him. So you guys feel free to go, hey, reel it back a little bit, Clint.
I always like to let my friends know. Keep me in bounds.
You know what? If there's anybody in the chat listening right now, let's write that in the chat. It's like, Clint, reel it back. I want to see you guys. Hey, Clint, reel it back. I want to see if you guys are paying attention.
Good friends look out for you.
Yeah.
Bad friends pour you another drink.
Yeah, I was usually a bad friend. Ocean View of Refuge. Grab a s'more. Hail. Yeah, there's a lot of hails in the chat.
Too much sugar and s'mores.
Yeah, we got to get this guy in, man. He is the unsung hero of pontificators, and it's Comic Book Bob. How are you, brother?
Yes, Bob.
Talking some butt stuff tonight.
Oh, Jesus. Right into the butt.
We haven't done the butt stuff in a while. Yeah, I miss Chris.
Bite the pillow. We're coming in dry.
No dryness. Everybody's going to be wet.
It goes
Hydrate,
so
you
wrong,
bastard.
so
Hydrate.
fast.
What was that, Clint?
It goes so wrong so fast.
Yeah,
I don't think we ever got on track.
Yeah, we never got on. Well, no, we were sort of on track, and then Bob comes in.
Your fault.
You know what? Bob's usually the guy that keeps the train on the tracks. So maybe we can have a reversal.
Comic focused, which I appreciate.
Yeah. So maybe we'll have a reversal. So maybe Clint and Bob will have one of those like Hollywood reverse moments.
I get uncomfortable when anybody's counting on me for anything reliable.
How long have you been an adult, Clint?
A long time. I haven't really mastered it yet.
Yeah.
Okay, you still working on it? It's still work in progress.
Exactly.
Yeah, I kind of want to turn my adult license in. This adult thing ain't working out.
No,
it's not working out.
It ain't working out, man.
It's overrated, man.
False advertising.
You know what? I'm 63, and I keep looking forward to those 2 years when I can officially retire. I said that on a live stream with Billy Tucci's like, you're not going to retire. It's like, listen, I got like 10 years on you. I'll retire.
Yeah.
You watch.
It's like,
I'm
you
trying
don't
to
tell me
post
what to do.
Yeah.
You're not the boss of me. I keep trying
You're
to
not the
post
boss of
it in the
me,
chat,
Mr.
but I
Tucci.
can't pull. It's too complicated.
All right. Well, this guy just popped in. He's backstage, and he is the humor. He is the drive. He is he's our brother from down under.
Oh, it's Pedro.
Yeah. He's like the master of the shrimp and the Barbie. His favorite restaurant is Outback. And this guy, he's got the weirdest accent you've ever seen. And he likes wrestling alligators. So let's get Mr. Pedro Ang on here.
What's up?
What?
That's some racist shit right there, man.
No, it's all right. I mean, I enjoy the blooming onion just like the next guy, but I'm not Australian. We do have a lot of alligators down here.
Oh, do you really?
Oof, yeah, huge. Like they actually they caught a 26-footer like a couple of days back.
Yeah, they ride them down there. They use them like horses.
Yeah,
They do not. I'll tell you right now, man. Well, wait. Before I say so, have you killed one?
Yeah.
Do you shoot them? How do you kill them?
Oh well, I shot a 9mm point blank at one from a boat, and it did nothing. It
Yeah,
just went like,
they
just kept them moving.
yeah, like when they hunt them, there's like a quarter size area in the back of their head that they got to shoot them at.
Yeah,
Because their head is like it's like trying to shoot through armor.
no, you know what really takes care of an
Probably a
alligator?
45 or a 50 cal.
No, a slug. The shotgun.
Wait. I'm still taking this in. So
What?
you can shoot an alligator in the head, and if you don't
What is
hit
it?
the right place,
Yeah,
it'll
just
still
go
come
up.
at you.
He'll shrug it off. You
Yeah.
won't even notice. It's just gonna
So a body shot is going to do absolutely nothing.
You can hit him like in the underbelly, but on top, it's it's tough.
It's not going to bounce off like Superman, right?
No, they're just so.
It also
they're so
depends on what
big.
caliber.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
It will penetrate, but it won't do much.
Yeah, if you like pull up on
Holy
them with a freaking AK,
shit.
you're gonna screw them up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! You know, we
dinosaur,
thought
man.
about moving from California to Florida for about 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And I was like, alligators, no. When I saw one
Nope.
climb a fence, like a 6-foot fence, I was like,
Mhm.
no.
I'm sorry.
Then I was talking to a friend in one of these live chats, and he's like, yeah, you know, I got this huge property. I walk the perimeter, and I got a sidearm, and if I see him, I just shoot him. And he made it sound like it was easy, right? Like you just boom, it's dead.
I mean, it's they'll be uncomfortable on the leave, but you're not gonna kill them. Like if it's big enough, you're not gonna kill them.
Okay, well, let me just ask you: does that just piss them off? Do they still come at you if you shoot
Actually,
them?
that one time, he was just floating around. He got really close to the boat. We were like fishing, so it was like, hey! He just went and just kept on floating.
They were the most efficient of the dinosaur species, and they survived. So
Yeah.
what does that tell you about them?
Mm-hmm.
They were the
T-Rex.
dinosaurs that survived.
You gotta tweet the show out.
Yeah, Randy, I do sometimes. Not always. It depends on how much time I have in the day. But yeah, I should get on that. And I got yiped at yesterday for the bros, but I did tweet it out, man, or X it out. Like even when I do it, I still get in trouble.
There's no winning, Art.
There's no winning. Well, anyway, Pedro, shoot one for me because those things scare the
thing's like,
shit out of me.
If it's like a 4-footer, like you'll destroy that thing. But the thing is like since the lake in the canal, the Gatun Lake is artificial, there's a lot of things that shouldn't be there. And one of those things is like huge alligators. So you get like 12-footers, 17-footers. Then like if you don't pay attention to them, they grow really big, and you have to take care of them because it's a freaking T-Rex. in the water.
Mhm.
Right. So you don't
So-
swim. Nobody swims in that water,
No.
right?
No,
You'll
no.
fish in a boat, but you will not
Yeah.
go in the water.
Yeah, it's just for like big boats that go into the canal and recreational little boats. And there's like dragon boat, like races and stuff. But no.
Wait, are
swimming.
dragon boats the ones with the big fan in the back?
No, that's just like a Louisiana redneck thing. No, a dragon boat is like a huge boat that
How
has
dare
like
you.
16 people rowing, and it's like a race. And
You know what?
Yeah,
I've never seen in a
We
movie.
have dragon boat races up here too. It's just kind of
What-
like
Yeah. What is a dragon boat?
it's like
a canoe.
almost like a long Japanese boat where it has the dragon head in the front and a tail in the back, and you got like 10 to 15 people just rowing, and it's
it's
just a
actually
rowing
Chinese, Clint. It's actually Chinese.
Also, it
What
doesn't
did
have
I
a
say?
motor.
What did I say?
not
Japanese,
motorized.
Chinese.
Chinese, yeah, Chinese. No.
Hey Pedro, when I was talking about those boats with the giant fans in the back, did you say those are redneck boats?
Yeah.
Those are the Florida Everglades boats. Those are the fan boats. Those are redneck boats.
Yeah, dude,
Those
it's
things
like-
are cool though. Like
They're
when I
cool,
saw
but-
those in film and stuff, I was like,
Yeah.
those things are freaking cool, man.
But I mean, if you own one of those boats, you own a banjo. You know, like
Mhm.
this comes with the territory. Like, there's
Ding,
nothing wrong
ding,
with that.
ding, 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 ding.
You
I
say
love
these
that
things
music.
like they're bad. Like Pedro's
No.
like all judgmental with the sound.
No, not at all, man.
Just because you say something is redneck doesn't mean you hate
Yeah.
rednecks.
I wasn't being like pejorative about it.
Yeah. So
Like,
just
when I
because I
was-
say you're Australian, it doesn't mean I said it with
Yeah, exactly.
hate.
Like, yeah. I love shrimp.
It's the same difference, Art.
Yeah, and the blooming onion.
It's the same difference.
Yeah, like nobody can tell between the Panamanian and Australian.
Oh my gosh, we could do this all night.
Yeah, me and Bancroft could be brothers for all you know.
Yeah, Bancroft is from Panama, right?
Yeah, he is a Panamanian guy.
Exactly.
My God.
That guy's got to deal with those alligators and the snakes and all
Oh,
that,
yeah.
and the monkeys.
And the funnel spiders. That's a thing I don't want to. Ooh. Like,
You know what? We get these wasps. They're these red
Oh.
wasps here, and you know what? They're really they're docile, right? Sometimes they'll
Mhm.
get in the house and they
Yeah.
won't bug you. They won't even come around you. But I found out the hard way what pisses them off. When you whack their nest,
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do
they'll
that.
fucking come
Yeah.
after you.
Exactly.
I got bit. I got stung so many
Oh.
freaking times.
But all right, the way to get some gasoline in the container that can fit the nest and just put it right up to the nest so they can go anywhere. The gasoline fumes will kill them all. It's real easy.
Well, you know what?
I do that all the time.
I have these like raid, and they have like a stream. It's like a garden
Yeah.
hose, right?
Yeah.
And that
Hornet
stuff
spray.
will shoot. Yeah, it'll shoot like
Yeah.
6-7 feet. But the thing is, you know, like you just do stuff, even like stupid stuff as an adult, you know better, right?
Yeah.
But for some
Exactly.
reason, you got to do it. So I
Yeah.
had a broom. It was there. I whacked it. I thought I could outrun those things. Before I knew it, they were swarming on me and they
Oh
were
my
stinging
God.
me all over.
Did you say like my name is RT Bear and this is Jackass?
Yep. But what's even worse is we had these big. They're like red ants, but they're not like your usual. Like California had red ants, but they're like big.
Bullet ants.
And maybe, but when those things sting you or whatever the hell they do, it's like you're shocked. Like it's a shock to your system, like
Oh, no,
electric shock. It'll
no,
like
it's
your
not.
nervous system, and you're kind of numb.
Yeah.
And those things swarm quick.
Yeah,
so it's
that's
like
a fire ant. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they are fire ants. Yeah.
A bullet ant will like make you pass out basically.
Yeah,
It's like on the struggle of the pain because a bullet ant is basically a wasp without wings. And yeah, it's one of the more painful stings in the animal world. Just
Yeah.
Well, those
Stay away
damn
from that.
ants that we have.
As much as we all enjoy talking about insect stings and bugs and getting deep into that, leg kick, and this is something Bob had brought up, I think earlier we were talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is I didn't catch the whole thing of this. I caught a little bit of this, and it did not make me feel great right away.
Okay. Well, let me read this because it's the polite thing to do. Leg Kick 1, $5 super chat. I do appreciate. Thank you. Did you guys see the trailer to Stanley, the final chapter? What's your thoughts? Hey, somebody, it's usually Bob. Find that trailer and we'll play it. And then we'll.
I haven't seen it yet.
I saw a clip of it.
This hasn't been like
Bob,
the
or I can
lowest
search
thing.
too.
Yeah, I've got it here. Let me get it.
This hasn't been like the lowest thing they've done with Stanley. Remember when they did like the ink with his blood thing?
I mean, there were people that had their hooks into Stan at the end.
Yeah,
and they were running him through the paces to get whatever money they could get out of him, and it's just a goddamn shame,
dude. Yeah, it was like he was like an exhibit.
And then this shows you like Marvel wasn't even like watching out for him or anything in any way, shape, or form. They had him come in, and there were people that had their hooks into him, and they used them, and it's just I've seen just a little bit of it, and it just makes me feel awful.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. And but what I've heard about it, it's sounding like it's gonna make my blood boil. So
yeah.
Well, it sounds like Leg Kick has seen it. This looks heart wrenching. Stan was a nice man.
Yeah.
You know, like I've had run-ins with just about everybody. I've been fortunate enough, but you know what? I've been at parties and stuff where Stan Lee was there, but I've never met him face to face.
I got to meet him face to face at a Chicago Con C2E in the 90s, and he was still full game on. He was full Stan. It wasn't where they were just kind of propping him up. And the thing he did was he knew what people expected of him, and he pulled it off. Like, he knew what people wanted. They wanted Stan Lee, and he did it. And I think they pushed him past what he should have been doing, and there was people that were getting money out of it.
Yeah, he was the ultimate hype man.
Yeah. But it's the classic story of people taking advantage of people once they're elderly. Yeah, and I mean they were pushing them to 2010s, and I mean, like I said, I saw him in the 90s, and he still wasn't, just an energetic older man. But I can't imagine what he was like at the older ages in the 2010s. And I don't remember exactly when he passed. But
you know what? This is weird. Like, they can't even afford the documentary. It's being crowdfunded.
Yeah, the guy's he's got all the footage shot, and that's actually like he's coming under a little bit of fire because they're like, why don't you just release the footage as it is?
Yeah, that's kind of tacky.
This guy's trying to make money off of it too.
And also maybe like he needs money for the editing suite. Like,
yeah, I'm sure he does. But the thing is, I'm not saying he doesn't sell it, but crowdfunding it is tacky. I think. I mean, you have a subject matter, you have Stan Lee, market it, sell it. Crowdfunding it just seems tacky.
And I guess there's some legal issues as well because of the way he talks about some people in it and things like that. So,
well, let's get into this. I'm going to add this to the stage.
Yep.
Go ahead, hit play, Bob.
My name is John Bullerjack, and for the last 4 years of Stanley's life, I was his assistant, his confidant, but most importantly, his friend.
So this is the guy that fucked him over.
Firsthand,
this is the guy that tried to save him.
But also the heartbreaking lows.
The guy with the black hair.
Stan spent his final years enduring
the heavyset guy.
Yep, the heavier set guy with the black hair.
And betrayal at the hands of a few very bad actors.
That dude right there.
Okay.
San Francisco thing. What do you feel we gotta do?
Gotta do it. At the time, I didn't have the power to stop it, but I did have a camera and I filmed everything.
Whoa, watch out! Sorry.
Now I'm asking for your help to finish the film and finally get justice for Stan. This documentary includes firsthand accounts from key witnesses, including comic book legends like Rob Liefeld and Roy Thomas, as well as many others who saw the chaos and unethical acts. This isn't speculation, it's all on camera. Undeniable.
This is old Stan Lee coming at you. No, you're not old.
Irrefutable.
You're not.
I thought I was finished, but apparently I'm not.
No ambiguity. With your help, we can finish the film, expose the truth, and give Stan the justice he deserves. As a bonus, I'm going to share with you some insights on the film from some of the most well-respected creators in the industry.
I'll be honest, I didn't know what to expect.
When I saw the documentary, I knew some of it, but like most people, I didn't know all of it. And there were pieces of it that blew me away.
It's a lot of emotions, dude. It's a crazy roller coaster.
Seeing Stan in that situation, being taken advantage of, was really hard to watch. Because I just think, I was thinking of my parents and my grandparents.
So I think it's important that people see that even the guy at the top, the most successful comic creator, isn't protected.
This film shows behind the curtain that not a lot of us fans get to see.
This isn't just a fluff piece trying to attack somebody. This is like, I'll just show you in their own words.
I had no idea how badly he had been exploited. And that's a message that people need to hear.
I really miss Stan, and just watching it just felt like I really got to know him again. My thing that I hope that, this documentary really does is, shine a light on what was going on truly with Stan Lee.
Apparently, he's getting sued by Stan's handlers. That's one of the reasons.
I'm sure he's getting. I'm sure there's lawsuits up the wazoo.
But I mean, this sounds like elderly abuse. I don't know if I would enjoy watching this.
Yeah, yeah. From what I've heard and what I've seen, it's going to be hard to watch.
Yeah, but it's
well. I just want to clarify because I know I said and I kind of jumped the gun.
For the record,
Andy Howe corrected me.
I will never do this to you, Art. Okay, for the record.
For talking over me?
Yeah, that and just parade you in a wheelchair collecting autographs. I will never do that to you, Art. Yeah.
That's good to know. Thank you, Pedro.
No,
I have to be clear with you. You will never have that kind of power over me.
Oh, man.
So I just want to be clear as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a wash. Anyways, Randy Howe says a lot of movies are crowdfunded now. Yeah. So I just want to say that I did kind of jump the gun and I judged that guy, right on the bat. So just to clarify, I mean, it sounds legit, and it does sound like a guy that was just kind of helping out Stan, had this footage, and he wasn't necessarily like a documentarian or something like that. That's what I was kind of thinking at first, but he wasn't. Was he a handler or what was
he? I guess he was just one of the guys that was around, like trying to help him out and everything with like his daily routine and stuff like that. The guy, the heavyset guy, that's the one who's suing him, and that's the guy that was his handler.
I'm sure the heavyset guy.
And he's not the only one. Like apparently there's other people, like one of Stan's kids.
Yeah, his daughter. There's one daughter.
Yeah,
and the one daughter was trying to milk as much money out of the situation. She sounds like she's a real sweetheart deal.
Yeah, and he said he was his personal assistant.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
the daughter is suing this guy.
She's one of the people that was accused of abusing him by his other daughter.
It's a classic elder abuse thing where the elderly person has some money. And there's multiple people trying to wring what they can out of it in their older years when they're insecure. It's as Disney would say, it's a tale as old as time.
Yeah. The thing is, though, is like you could only do this with somebody that has the status and as popular as Stan. Yeah. The thing is, I remember early on when Stan was still alive and he was doing all these signings and everything, and people were like, "Oh, these books are like $300 or $1,000 to get a Stan Lee signature and whatever." And they were kind of like, this is ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. But I'll tell you, it's either profit off of it or let the vultures profit off of it. You know what I mean? Like while you're alive, because your days are numbered, right? So why not just go, instead of being angry and things, just go, okay, it's $1,000 a signature or whatever the hell it was. And then just profit off it. Then you don't have to get angry about it, because in time that stuff is probably going to be worth a lot more anyways. That's why people are doing this stuff, for investment. Well, a lot of them investment purposes.
Yeah, and a lot of this stuff apparently happened after his wife died.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That makes it even worse.
And he was just.
So she was like the safeguard.
Yeah. Well, kind of. Yeah, and also like he was fading, without her, and
the daughter's not there for support. The wife is gone. You're an older gentleman, and you're not secure, and you got people pulling at your
And I'm looking at scooters right now. What color do you like, Art?
the color that Stan had, that hot rod red. That was You got to get one of those rascals or scooters with they had the white walls. Have you seen those?
Oof, yeah.
Yeah, get the white walls, baby.
Those are awesome. Yeah.
Some of them have charging ports for your phone.
Yeah,
and they have little baskets in the front,
like hot rod flames on the side and stuff. Like make it
look
really
and
cool.
Supposedly I'd heard that Stan has what is it called? Not post. Is it like after you die appearance in Fantastic Four, and the maybe he had that contractually written in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, supposedly, with the new Fantastic Four movie, he's gonna have an appearance.
Yeah.
Look at Bob getting all deep here. Tomorrow is a promise. Make as much time as you can.
Bob,
always deep thoughts by Jack Handy.
Yeah, always the optimist.
I had to deal with
always the optimist. Always the sun is shining.
Right down on that cookie, Bob.
I had to deal with some issues with my parents over the last couple of weeks. So,
okay.
So
sorry. We're being insensitive now.
Yeah,
I feel bad.
Dude, it ain't that big a deal.
Thank you, Bob. I feel bad now.
All the best.
But this thing's gonna be rough to watch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Especially just the scenes where like you see them backstage and they shoved him in a corner.
Oh yeah, dude, like a piece of furniture. That's just
and it's just
and the thing is like every and we've all thought this about like, oh, the celebrities or whatever. All these celebrities, they're coming to these conventions. They just want to make their money, and they're putting in time. It's like standing behind. It's like when you're 19 and you're working at the gas station and you're standing behind the counter. But these are like celebrities that have made something of themselves, and they're sitting behind this table, and you're like, oh, you should be lucky that we come up to like get your signature or whatever. But it's still like sitting there at that table in a convention center all day long, signing for everybody and trying to keep your spirits up and be nice to everybody because they're your fans. It takes a toll on you. It wears you out. It's like any other job, where you spend time. And so as much as I want to, I'm very prone to rip on celebrities. The celebrities that come to these conventions, they're like the rest of us. They're trying to make a living, and it is, it is what it is,
Yes.
How old was he during that video shoot?
He had to be 90s.
He was in his 90s, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he was 95 when he died, and I think that started. His wife died in 2017, and he died in 2018. So he was like 90, 92, 90. He was like 93, 94 when they were doing this.
Oh, dude.
And that's the thing is, for everything he did, he was still showing up at conventions trying to make people
smiling
money.
at people.
That's not where you want to be when you're 90. You want to be like just somewhere comfortable and not trying to like hawk money or whatever.
People should be coming to take care of you, not the other way around.
Yeah, dude.
Exactly.
And 90 something, like how much money do you need really? Like,
well, and that's the thing is he was still getting the $1 million thing from Marvel just for like them using his likeness and stuff.
But to me, it wasn't about the money. Like I was trying to say earlier, it's about it's about the people exploiting you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you don't get angry, people making all this money off your signatures. Like, he could have gave them away free. It wouldn't have cost, it wouldn't have really cost him anything. But the thing is, one, it's legacy, and two, those people are going to profit off it themselves. So if he's not going to have a high price attached to it, then he is going to be exploited, and he's going to be used, and he's going to get angry. And most people would, as much as you would like to maybe do something nice. Oh, I'll give away my signatures for free, whatever. But people are going to exploit that. They're going to use it, and they're going to make money off of it. So my thing is, you may as well make some money as well, in the meantime.
This is my guess, as at the age that Stan was, and with the deals he had and the money coming in, he wasn't necessarily doing this about money. He wanted to still matter at that age. He wanted to still matter. He still wanted to see his fans. He wanted to interact. And there were people that knew this and were taking advantage, because Stan didn't need the money. He could have been wherever on his retirement condo or whatever, and just not dealt with it. But you also still want to interact. Stan was always outgoing. He was always an extrovert, wanted to be with the fans, enjoyed conventions, enjoyed the applause. I think Stan still wanted to be out there with the fans, and it wasn't about the money. He wanted to interact, but then there were people that realized that Stan wanted to be out there and realized they could monetize it to their own advantage.
Yeah.
And then they pushed him and pushed him and pushed him. Whereas Stan could have done a much scaled back fan interaction and not gotten worn out, not gotten tired, and still enjoyed the experience. But then you give somebody who's trying to use you that advantage, and they take full advantage of it. That's what it seems like to me looking at it.
Yeah. And I want, and you got to think that after Joan died, he probably latched onto that thing with the fans.
You're lonely.
It's just something that he needed to do.
Exactly.
Just to keep his spirits up and everything.
Yep.
Well, the thing is, you always want to feel relevant. You always want to feel like you have some worth, So I think one of the hardest things would be to get to that age.
Yeah. With that absence in his life, though, you got to think he latched onto it even harder.
Because especially if you don't have your wife anymore, so getting out, talking to people, hanging out. My parents worked. My mom worked till she died, and she didn't work for the money. She worked just to be social. You know what I mean? Just to feel like she was contributing, just to feel like she was doing something. And it was, believe it or not, it was something she looked forward to. And that's pretty amazing. So if you could go, travel around and sign Thor hammers and Captain America shields and comic books and whatever, it has to make you feel on some level like that your life still has meaning,
This is on a psychological level. Crazy. Hold on one sec, Pedro. Sorry. This is the crazy sad part. This is your show. Thanks, Pedro. This is the crazy sad part of it, is how many of us would have bent over backwards to be Stan's handler. To have all of these last glory years just be as perfect for him as they could be, bend over backwards, all of the fans, and not make it be what he ended up having to go through, because there's so many of us who would have loved to have spent that time with Stan and then just made it as easy for him as possible, and let all of the people in the signing line know Stan wants to see you. He's so happy to be here. Just be patient, and just not make it hard for Stan. And then he gets stuck with whoever this dude was and it's just one of those dice rolls where he rolled up crap. So
and the thing is I remember before he died, there was a video of him, and they were having him sign comics, And I'm like, look, like I can understand like doing some stuff for fans and things like that. They had like 300 books back there for him to sign.
Yeah. No.
And I'm like, geez, you don't need all that. Like it was just pure exploitation.
Yeah.
It was a business. They were making money off of them. And my thing is, like, if they were paying cash at these personal appearances, I mean, there's no receipts. There's, I don't know how much graft and things was going on at these shows. And the thing is, like just because you said, I think Bob said, like his daughter, one of his daughters was involved. Yeah. When your daughter is involved, I mean, you would, no matter who she hired or who she was working with, you would trust. You know what I mean? Like you would give those people you would, like, just by your daughter being involved and knowing these people, you would think that these people were legit, right? You wouldn't necessarily second guess them because it's your daughter, and you would assume that she had your best interest.
I haven't heard one thing about his daughter that makes her sound like a good person.
Yeah, but still, like the filial connection makes it legit. But the thing I wanted to say is that, this is me just speculating on Stan Lee's psyche, his creations basically brought comic books to the big screen. Like he was very proud of that. So maybe they took advantage of him because he was writing that way. If we see the years where Stan Lee was being exploited, we're talking about Iron Man and Thor and all, like when the MCU was great. The second phase 4, when everything went to shit, like who cares? But it wasn't in that time that he was writing that way. So that maybe that's how they got to manipulate him. Maybe, like, I don't know
what? Even still, because I do remember lawsuits between Stan and Marvel, or I guess it was Sony, because that first Spider-Man was quite a little sensation. The Tobey Maguire one.
Yeah.
And I do remember Marvel reneging on their contract. I mean, Stan and Marvel or Sony or whoever it was, they had a contract, and Marvel tried to renege parts of it. And so Stan had to get a lawyer and sue Marvel. Like, they couldn't even work it out. Like, he had to sue them. And so the thing is, like, this guy is used to predatory, people around him and using him and exploiting him. But also the thing is, once you get a certain age, and especially if your daughter's overseeing it, you would have a tendency to trust in a way that you probably wouldn't if his daughter wasn't involved. Like if my kid wasn't overseeing, this signing venture or whatever, then I would definitely be more guarded, right? Like I would definitely go, these people are out to exploit me. But if my daughter was involved, I would think, well, she'll make sure that, her dad doesn't get taken advantage of. Apparently that wasn't the case.
Apparently, so he did have 2 daughters, but one of them died when she was really young. So apparently, the situation, I'm looking into it. We were actually a little bit wrong on this. The handler was accusing her of being the one that was abusing him. And then she came back at him, and so that's where this whole thing started.
Okay.
So apparently apparently the handler took advantage of the situation
what I've read about her
and forced her out.
The dark-haired guy?
That jives with what I've read, because the daughter never sounded good in any of the situations. She was trying to milk money out of Stan after everything. She was still trying to milk money out of the situation.
But apparently that that was the handler that was causing all that, and she was actually not doing this.
But
I didn't see a woman there anyway, so it seems like even if she was involved, she wasn't involved with the day-to-day stuff, so she might not have seen a lot of this stuff that was going on.
I don't think she cared. And the handler guy looks bad too. The handler guy looks like he's just dealing with, I'm going to deal with this and whatever. And then she's trying to get her money out of it, regardless of how her dad is being treated.
Yeah, she was. I was like,
and this is unfortunately, this is not an uncommon circumstance with elderly people that have money with their children. Like their children most of the times they're just waiting for them to go that they can get their money out of them. So this is not an uncommon circumstance.
Yeah. My daughter asked me if I had a will, and I said, I don't need one. I'm taking it with me.
Everything, yeah, exactly. Like the Viking.
There's going to be nothing for you.
Yeah, put it on a boat and set it on fire. Just like a Viking.
Shoot arrows in it, like
apparently, the part of the lawsuit they brought up was the fact that she was spending between $20,000 and $40,000 a month.
She was spending Stan's money as fast as she could.
Yeah.
I've heard these stories that Bob's talking about. She was garbage.
So it sounds like everybody was just killing him.
How many Coke parties do you have to throw to spend $40,000? Like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm using Panamanian prices, so this is death to everyone. If
I could do it. I'm just saying.
You open up your check. You open up your checkbook, Pedro. Women can spend money. Women can spend money.
That's why I don't have one. That's why I don't have one.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
stick with that. Stick with that.
Like for all of us, these are cautionary tales. You know, we're all reading.
Yes.
And the thing is, we're creating our own IPs. You know, so we do have a legacy. It might not be, you know, something on level of Stan Lee, but we all have to kind of think about the later years. We have to think about protecting not only our legacies, you know, as artists, but also like the IPs that we create, because there is value in it. You know what I mean? And so you have to protect those things. And I do remember, I'm going to name drop, having a conversation with Jim Lee early on when we were breaking in, and it was like a San Diego Comic-Con, and I think it was Bob will probably know. He was one of the inkers on Savage Sword over John Buscema. Alfredo Acola, was that it? Alfredo Acola. Anyway, there was a party, and he was kind of sitting outside of the party, just like kind of sitting on the curb or the step, and he looked really dejected, like he just wasn't part of what was going on. And he's older.
Jim did?
No. This was Alfredo Acola, or
Alfredo. Alfredo looked dejected. Okay.
Yeah. And so, like, Jim and I were hanging out, so we went in and we saw him, and so then, you know, we're getting drunk, we're partying, whatever, and so it just kind of was one of those things that stuck in your head. You know, you're a young guy starting your career, and then you see this, so it's almost like the beginning, and then we get to see kind of towards the end.
Yeah.
And so then we started talking about, like, how do you get to that point? How would Alfredo get to that point? And then we figured out it's just like work for hire. Yeah. You know, all he did his whole life was work for hire. Yeah. And so a lot of those books, I mean, there were no royalties in the early days. Like, those guys weren't getting royalties. Royalties really didn't start until just before I broke in, believe it or not. It was like in the 80s, like early mid 80s, but even Marvel still didn't call them royalties. They were incentives, so they still didn't give you any guarantee that you were going to get any sort of royalty off every one of the books. But anyway, so
his name was Alcala.
Okay. Alfredo Alcala, right?
Alcala. It's actually
the accent is wrong. And so
I don't have the right accent.
Yeah. So then we just started talking, and it's like, you know, because also I think the Ninja Turtles had just broke around that time, you know, and we had gone to a party, like they were talking about how they just, both of them bought Porsches, you know, in cash, and, you know, they were just throwing their money around, and they had a party at like the Hotel San Diego, and they had a suite, you know, so, you know, like with broke comic book artists, it doesn't take much to impress them, money, you know? And so we were like, oh my God, these guys are so big. And, you know, that was just the start of those, was the Eastman and Laird.
Yeah.
And so anyways, we started talking, and then we were just saying, well, there's two things you could do. Create an entity, like a studio that creates comic books, right? Or create IP, right? So I started early on, like Hack Shack was before Extreme Studios, before Wildstorm, before any of that stuff, before Top Cow. And so I was already kind of putting it into practice. And then, you know, of course, Image Comics and things like that. And we used to just talk, Jim and I, like, could you assembly line a comic book? You know what I mean? Like have one guy do faces, one guy does figures, one guy does breakdowns, whatever it is. And then just have everything a system, and then like put out a comic book like within days, you know, and then just keep doing stuff like that. And so, you know, that's kind of what Hack Shack Studios was. You know, we all had our thing in the studio, and we did that, and we got fast at it. So we were just, you know, doing more books, you know, as time went. And so, and then of course, you know, there's Chrono Mechanics, there's Black and White, and the other things that I've created over time. So I've been trying, but it's not easy. You know what I mean? Without that big, like Ninja Turtles to build off of, or, you know, something like that, it's really tough to kind of build these things. It doesn't mean we don't try, and we don't try to make, you know, better IP each and every time, but it does become tough. But what's the alternative? You know, you become like a page rate guy until you can't hold a pencil anymore. You know, till you become Alfredo. What do you say?
Alcala. There you go. You see,
you know, so that's the sad reality of it. So, you know,
it just need some salsa.
Yeah, exactly.
Get some spice into
no,
it.
just think. I'm very hungry. I'm very hungry, and it's extremely hot.
Alcala.
Art, what you're talking about plays into Rob, and this is where I came across it. Liefeld had posted this on X, so I'm sharing you Dustin Nguyen's post about Marvel. Who Dustin is a Wildstorm artist from almost 20 years ago, I think, and he just
like 30 years.
Yeah.
Oh no, he came in a little later, but yeah.
He was after Travis. He took Wildcats after Travis.
Oh, you're right.
And
you're right.
Yeah. And so I came across this because Liefeld had reposted it. But so this is Dustin's post. Also, everyone I'm not working with at Marvel can go F themselves. I've nicely asked for the past 15 years on behalf of every artist. Stop effing over creators. You're not getting another cover from me until then. Drown me. I'm okay with your minimum wage bullshit. So this is basically an artist who's comfortable enough with biting the hand that feeds him. And that's what it is. But like they're not feeding artists that much. So those hands will get bit. And this is what I've heard from I've got a bunch of friends that, you know, work for the big two. You know, I'm over here, but they're over there, and we're still buddies. And I hear these stories, and there's like, nobody's happy over there. Maybe the top couple of guys are happy, but they're nervous because they see where everybody else is at. They see where page rates are at. They see where royalties are at. And one of my guys told me, he's like, most of these books would be completely under if it wasn't for the variant covers that retailers. So there's the retailer variant cover, and this isn't even the publisher now. These are where retailers have set up with the publisher that they will hire artists to do variant covers specifically for their comic book shop. And without those retailer variant covers set up through the comic book shop, not even the publisher, these books would all be underwater. And so, like, this is the state of where things are at. And this is where woke, and there's no other way to, like, comics would be better if it wasn't for the last 6-7 years of woke bullshit being jammed down everybody's throat. The average comic book fan does not want that shit. And so this is what they're propping things up with, are these retailer variant covers. And like the actual comic book creators can't even make a living off of their page rates. So this is where the comic book industry is at right now.
We hear you, Clint. You hate women.
I hope we've talked about this over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
the pendulum is swinging back. You can see it. It's happening. It's happening across culture. Is it going to happen in comics? That's my question.
Do you guys remember a couple of years ago when a retailer told at a Marvel panel, like, guys, you're killing me. These comics are not selling, and what they said, we hear you. You hate women. This is the chickens coming. I mean, I'm citing Malcolm X now. This is the chickens coming home to roost.
I gotta take this. I'm sorry. This is funny. This is kind of inside joke. Art could have had Batman T-Bear.
Yeah.
Was it on a Pontificators or I was talking? It's like I had the realization that I could have followed Finch over and do Batman, after Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb's run on it, and instead, I talked him into staying at Marvel and X-Men, and then I got fired and told I would never work at Marvel again, and I never thought about it would have been a good move to go over.
It was a bad choice. That was a bad choice, Art.
Hey, hindsight's 2020, man.
What's that song? Regrets. I've had a few.
Yeah. You did it your way, man.
Yeah.
But,
I would kill to have Art's career where he mistakenly didn't take Batman for a few years.
I mean, the only positive thing I can say about that situation is at least it's not AIDS.
I will say this though, one of the things that's really impressive, but this thing is really, because if you go over to Instagram, he's getting a lot of responses, man. Like some of the people that are posting their own stories about this. Scott Williams, Sean Gordon Murphy, Mike Mayhew, Rob Liefeld, John Boy Meyer.
There's no pros. There's no pros that are like, hey, the big two are treating us right. No, there's
Justin Copeland.
They never did. I mean, Image Comics was a backlash to Marvel not treating, us right. I mean, it's just that simple. Like profit sharing, given a little bit more. It doesn't take much to help a comic book artist. You know what I mean? Little gestures, little bit of extra money here, there. It goes a long way. And they just couldn't do it. You know what I mean? They kept tightening up their purse strings, and they had an excuse. They said, "Well, it's not you guys, it's not the creatives, it's the characters." And when you think about like Marvel and Disney, that's how Disney is too. It's not the creators, it's the characters. So it's the same kind of corporate mindset, and that's what leads to these things. But it's a combination of the two. You get Todd McFarlane on Spider-Man, and then all of a sudden, you have like a million selling book. That's just kind of how things work. But not to acknowledge that as a company is bullshit. And also like that Stan Lee getting, having to sue Marvel, for them to keep their word with the contract. I mean, that's who these people are. You know what I mean? They're not good people, and you should never trust them or never think that they got your back, because they just don't.
Yeah, and he goes on, like one of the things he talks about is how in 15 years he asked for a $75 page raise, and Marvel ghosted him.
Who did?
Dustin.
No, it's quite a bit of. Well, not
that's
really.
That's over a 15-year period.
Oh, okay, yeah,
and he said they ghosted him. So it's like, and all these, like I said, all these other pros are just chiming in on this thing. So is Marvel going to care? Probably not.
Well, I left. I didn't leave Marvel. I was fired and told I would never be welcome there again by David Bogart. And what's that little guy that says he's Asian? What's his name?
Oh,
CB
Cebulski.
Yeah, CB.
That's the Japanese guy.
Yeah, what a two-face. That guy's a real jerk. They all are. But anyway, so I was asked to leave, and so I took a couple years off to start creating things on my own. Chrono Mechanics. I started pitching to Hollywood, things like that. But then I had a conversation with oh my gosh, what's his name? Dan DiDio over at DC. And I told him my story at Marvel and why I wasn't doing comics anymore. And he said, well, come over to DC. I'll beat your Marvel rate and I'll have plenty of work for you. And so that's what I did. And so a few years later, I'm kind of reestablished. I'm doing, cool DC books now. And I was always friends with Chris Pacello. We didn't live too far from each other. And so he was working on the Avengers. So he goes, I want you to ink me again. There was the magic, when you worked with me in the past. I want you to ink this Avengers job. And so I was just kind of like, there was enough time that had passed, and it was more curiosity than anything. And I was like, well, I was asked to leave Marvel. I told him my little backstory, and he said, just talk to the editor. So I did. I can't remember the editor's name, but he was my editor on The Flash at DC Comics. And so he's like, yeah, we'd love to have you back. The conversation went well. And he said, but you have to talk to David Bogart. And David Bogart's the guy, one of the guys that fired me, him as CB. And so just out of curiosity, I was like, okay, let's see what's out there, right? And so I'm talking to David Bogart, and David Bogart's framing this stuff up. And if you guys want to know the backstory, I document it. Go back in my YouTube history; it's there. And so David's like, I said, well, what would be my work situation? What would my page rate and all that stuff be? He goes, well, we couldn't honor your page rate when you left. I said, I left like 5 years ago. I said, you can't even give me what I had then, not to mention, more because of, time. And he's like, no. I said, could you beat or at least meet my DC rate? And he goes, no. And I said, why? I said, I'm worth it. I'm obviously, you were paying me this in the past and DC's paying me this now. So why would you knock it down? And he said, we can't trust you because you screwed us in the past. And I said, no, I didn't screw you. I said, you trumped up charges so you could set an example to Dave Finch and Mark Bagley. If you guys don't know the story, it's documented in the past. And so then he's like, well, that's the best we could do. And I said, thanks, but I'll stay at DC and make more money. Like, why the hell would I go? Like, why are we even having this conversation? Like, you can't even meet my old Marvel rate from 5 years ago. Like, and then you say the reason you can't is because you don't trust me. Like, this is a month-to-month. This is a month-to-month agreement. This isn't like I fucking sign on some exclusive for 10 years. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you could sever the deal in 30 days or after the book's done, and I could walk. You know what I mean? Like, you've worked this way, Clint. Like, it's just book to book. There's no long-term agreement or anything. So what are you talking about? Like, trust. What are you talking about? All this stuff. This is a month-to-month contract, or agreement. It's not even a contract. And sometimes they even renege on that stuff, Yeah,
and you were dealing with the top guys, and all those top guys are slimy. Like, I was dealing with, like, editors, but you were dealing with above the editor grade. Like, you were dealing with, and those guys, they're not comic book people. They're like, I don't even know how to describe them, because they're not good business people, because if they were good business people, they wouldn't be in comics. So they're like, they're
that's
like,
a good point.
Like they're like the business people that tried and failed and ended up in comics, and their little egos got hurt, and so they're gonna pay everybody down. You know what I mean? Like the people that are doing comics, drawing comics, penciling, inking, writing, lettering, those are people that love comics. Unfortunately, the people that are above us are people that don't give a shit about comics and are bad at business and, like, fell into that position and are kind of like just this kind of loser that wants to kind of stick it to everybody else because they know they're not a very good person. And that's what we end up having to deal with in comics, unfortunately.
Well, I want to name names. And someday, you guys, when I really don't give a shit, I'll name names. But I
want to be there for that. I want to be there for that day with a full cocktail, Art. Just let me know.
And that
but
day
I had
is coming.
Conversations, and they all said like
the editors, because there's good editors, but there's that and they're just
there's some they're on power trips and stuff. But David Bogart, like I was told, he is a little, what do they call that? Like the Napoleon complex or whatever. Like
he's short. Is he short?
Yeah.
No. Short guy complex.
Yeah, he got a short guy complex.
He's 5'6" and looks up to every girl that he's ever seen in his life.
Just power tripping and just just petty beyond belief. And it is what it is. I do look back and I go, well, he did me a favor, even though I didn't go over to DC and do Batman, which is possibly a mistake. But I took those years off, and I basically paid for myself to create. Like I just invested in myself and my properties, took 2 years off, and just kind of created stuff.
Art's next crowdfunder is going to be an autobiography. Why I didn't do Batman and why I still think it's a good idea.
It's still a good idea.
It was a good idea.
Yeah, looking back, it's like, it's pretty dumb. Yeah, I should have taken the job.
Stick with your decisions, Art. Don't backpedal.
Yeah. Well, usually I look back and I go, okay, this happened, and it seems like you could find reason, right? Like, well, this was good, even though it seemed bad at the time. But now that I look back, like I used to think it was good, but now I look back and I was like, yeah, but that Batman gig would have been.
You could have just crapped out Art and like had jobs forever being the X-Men and Batman artist, and it just been like Art T-Bear, X-Men and Batman artist, and like that would have just been gigs forever.
Yeah,
it would have been interesting. What's that, Pedro?
That convention table, how would that look like? Having Batman and just going like, oh my god.
Well, I wonder if Marvel would have fired me if Finch and I did take the job, right? Like if the worst case scenario that they were trying to avoid did happen. You know what I mean? Would Finch and I still be doing X-Men? Like if we could I could do 2 books. I don't know about Dave. But
that would have been awesome. You were on X-Men and Batman at the same time.
Damn.
Well, I did work on X-Men.
You would have had that over
Superman.
Jim. You would have had that over Jim.
Superman.
Yep, you got that over Jim.
X-Men, Superman, and the Fantastic Four I did monthly for a while.
You had that over. Yeah. There's not a lot of people that can say that shit.
No.
Actually, there's nobody that can say that shit.
But anyway, like this is kind of like what you said earlier, Cliff. This is the tale as old as time. These companies, Marvel more so than DC. DC was, they tried. The problem with DC is you had to have understanding with DC because you knew in the day that they couldn't pay you what Marvel did because the books didn't sell as well.
Yeah.
But they tried. They had integrity. The royalty statements, the royalties were in writing. You got royalties from, foreign markets, even though it would be like for like 50 cents, you'd get a royalty check from Peru or wherever it was. You know what I mean? And that's when like a company's honest, when it costs them more to produce that check, you know what I mean, than it did for the amount that they were paying you.
But dude, like, imagine being able to say, like, hey, I got my Peruvian royalties today. Okay, I got my Sri Lanka money now. I can buy
it. It sounds way more impressive.
Than
it is.
I got my Burkina Faso check. Let's go to McDonald's.
I did enjoy every once in a while, like one of these publishers, like from Mexico or where it was, they would send me comics. That it would all be
in Espanol.
Yeah.
Nice.
It cracked me up, man. It was awesome.
Oh, dude,
But,
I remember I used to buy some Mexican comics back when I was in Colombia because I mean they have comic book shops, and most of the comics were in English, but you can get like Spawn in Spanish, which was called Engendro, and they have like the same logo. Yeah, that's there's like
that guy loves Spawn.
What kind of heroes did you guys have? Like the Sheet Metal Surfer?
No. We have like it was Marvel, DC, local comic books. There were people trying, but they were mostly like black and white. And actually, I did in college a project with a drug dealer story, which was actually cool because they all have superpowers, but they were all drug dealers. So it was
guilty,
fucked up.
Yeah,
guilty. Hey man, those drug dealers in the '90s, they funded some shit, man.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I worked for a comic book company that was backed by a chop shop out of Kansas City.
Dude, like I remember once we played in a festival, like a music festival, and it was paid by the nephew of Pablo Escobar. Like I kid you
shit.
And we're like, we might get shot here, but no. It was cool.
Oh, you were working for more money than I was if you were anywhere near Pablo Escobar. I was just
catering.
Like, Kansas City chop shop money.
Dude, the catering was amazing. God. I have to say, but dude, it was like 1990, 94.
That's about 95, 96, right in there. When you're 25, 27, I don't care where the money's coming from. I get to draw some comic books.
Dude, we had a great back line, and the thing is like, actually, there was this guy in Bogota that he ended up dead like a couple of years later.
Weird.
Yeah, but dude, like he was really into comics, and it wasn't like a Columbia Comic Con, but it was like a gathering. And dude, he had like the biggest collection of comic books, and he would rent and everybody come here. If you're an artist, come here and draw. So it was organized by this guy.
But that was the thing. That was the thing in the 90s, though.
Yeah,
is that image explosion touched everything.
Yeah,
like, there were dudes that you would never expect to be like comic book fans that were like, oh, X-Men, oh, Youngblood, oh, Wildcats.
But
like,
you know what was the weird thing, Clint? That he would be like, hey, Pino, bring me my Youngblood, and Pino would come up with an AK-47 strapped to his back with a bunch of comics. Hey, here we go.
Yeah, that's a little different.
Yeah, dude. It was the Wild West, and we're all here like we're all like growing nerds.
Okay. But comics touched that. Like comic explosion touched that in a weird way. It was like it was so popular, it permeated things that you wouldn't have expected it to permeate, including drug culture.
Drug culture,
yeah.
It crosses boundaries.
Yeah.
Organized crime.
You want to know what also crosses into? Toys.
Yes, toys.
Oh,
wow.
Hey, we're going to get into that, but hey, Clint, do you have that?
Let me share that one with you now.
Chris Reeves thing. We'll use that as a
that was pretty cool
cleanser. Yeah, it's weird
it was neat. It was like because I don't care how anybody feels about AI. This was just kind of it was neat.
Kind of cool.
Well, you first look at it when I was watching, I was like, but then it kind of wins you over in a weird way,
Well, it's it's
that's not the one I want to share.
Oh, Alpha Proto is talking about a very important thing. Like Gwen Stacy didn't die in Spider-Man in the Mexican version because the fans didn't want that to happen. Yeah. And there's this case in Brazil when they had like this like Mega Man comic book that wasn't famous anywhere, but it was like an Italian artist working with an American editorial thing, but they just discontinued the thing. But people were so adamant into like basically keep on reading the Mega Man comic book that the Brazilian fan base contacted the guy in Italy and paid him like, dude, under the rug, whatever. I know this is illegal. We want to know how the story ends, and you can get those comics only in Brazil. So
neat.
Yeah, so
I wonder what the collector market is on that.
I could see that. I could totally see that. and it's probably a huge collector market because the Europeans didn't get it, so they want to buy it from Brazil. That's probably a huge collector's market.
Yeah. But getting that
totally
coming to Brazil is
really,
it's really hard to get because we're talking like 2001.
This is where like finding your fan base. Finding your fan base is better than anything. But here we go.
Yeah.
So these are like selfies, right? This is like if it was contemporary.
Yeah. This is AI. This is on TikTok, but it's like Christopher Reeves selfies as Superman. It's just beautiful. I don't care what anybody thinks about anything. This is beautiful.
I don't mind AI for stuff like this.
The music makes it.
I miss Christopher Reeve.
Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, his jaw's a little weird there. But
well, the thing is, it's not perfect all across, but it's like a beautiful what if.
Yeah.
No, it's like a moving.
Not always Christopher Reeves 100%, but it's like it's a little bit of a what if.
See, I like that one right there. That one's good.
And God, the suit looks beautiful. Yeah, and his hair looks perfect.
Nice.
I'm blown away by the expression.
I see this, and I think, you know, with just a few tweaks, I still think the original suit could work on film.
Yeah,
just a few small little tweaks.
The thing is, like with this AI technology, is that you can't do acting yet. It looks weird when you try to do acting. So let's wait. We'll get better.
See, I don't mind things like that.
No,
that kind of stuff. That's kind of cool.
It's something you would have never gotten to see otherwise.
Yeah. Like there was one thing I was watching, and it's actors from old movies it's the current version of them with their younger self.
Oh yeah, I've seen those,
and they're really well done. They just did one for the Princess Bride. They did one for Star Wars.
Princess Bride. Yep, I've seen that one.
And
Princess Bride is awesome.
They did one for all the James Bond actors.
Oh yeah, but it shows.
You know what we did? We did on the Pontificators is the one where they take like the old school, like Kirk Douglas, like actors like Tony Curtis and stuff, and they from that time they have them play the Marvel characters.
Yeah,
you know, so it's like Tony Curtis. I don't remember the actors, like Tony Curtis as Tony Stark or Iron Man or whatever.
I can see that.
So it's pretty cool. And the thing is, the reason why I think this stuff's okay is they're not asking you for money or anything. You know what I mean? They're just kind of posting this stuff up and just doing it for entertainment.
But here's the thing. Extrapolate this right now. They can do this. They can show you movie quality Christopher Reeves, like whatever, selfies as Superman, little clips for free. So what are they going to be able to do if they dump real money into this, and then they have licensing rights to popular actors who have passed on in roles that they were always known for, and it's like what? There's gonna be a next step because these are popular. Yeah.
I would love to see Jack Palance again.
I think he is one of them.
I've seen this one. This one's great. This is good.
I sense a disturbance in the force, which usually means your mother is out shopping. You don't know the power of the thermostat. Leave it where I said it.
Oh, the past is wild, the future's fast. The family's the things built to last. Adventures come and go, it's true. But home is where the stars shine.
Gardner Yoda.
Lando.
Oh my God, they made Lando.
I am your father, and as long as you live under my Death Star, you follow my rules. You were right about me. Tell your sister that I did eat that last slice of pizza.
Through life and and dark,
That would crack me
no
up.
matter where we are, home's not too
Dude,
far.
there's
Ups
this
and downs,
Neighbor
family's the
Palpatine.
force that shines so bright. That's life.
Stop.
Far, far away.
That's a low blow.
Family far, far away. A family far, far away. Far, far away.
I would
mean,
watch
that's-
the hell out of that.
Imagine
Dude, there's
trying
this
to
British
have the
comedian,
budget.
but there's this British comedian that uses like AI, like AI technology to place like Liam Neeson's face on his face. And,
Yeah. And he did the
and-
one where
and
like they
he's-
were watching, he was watching Anakin kill all the kids. He goes,
Yeah, exactly.
He's like,
Oh, dude, it's
you're
really
going
funny.
to Jedi church with me tomorrow.
Yeah, like he can imitate the voices, and then like Qui-Gon, like whatever happens, like I'll take that bitch. Because it's always like betting, like dude, it's really funny. So
I don't
that's the
care what
thing.
anybody says. I need to learn how to use that AI to make my little videos for my comic books. Because I mean, that's insane what they can do with that stuff, man.
I think it, like we said on this show, I think it depends on the creativity behind it, right?
Yeah,
It is what it is, but like that was pretty clever, you know, just for a little throwaway, you know, it's like that 70s show meets, you know, Star Wars.
Yeah, you gotta work within the limitations of the technology right now. If you see there were no dialogues between the characters, like nobody was doing
They
any
can
lip
do
syncing.
like they can do the still movement thing.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
nobody's talking. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That-
they
so-
did Vader, but Vader you couldn't
Yeah.
see his mouth. So
yeah. You can do your voiceovers and stuff.
Mhm.
So
right.
So that's the thing. Like work within the limitations of the technology, and you can do really cool things.
and the thing is all that is it's a marker.
Yeah.
It's just figuring out who uses the marker better and who can use it the way. It's just another tool, and if you're gonna sit there and poo-poo it, well, guess what? The marker exists. If you don't want to use the marker, you don't have to. But guess what? Other people are going to use the marker, and they're going to use it for their benefit.
Yeah, it's here to stay. And like we've said, you know, like for me, it's the great equalizer because, you know, the gatekeepers in Hollywood aren't. It's like
Aren't in control
they used
anymore.
to have like hundreds of people to make an animated feature, right? Well, now with a handful of people and AI, you can make your own cartoon show. You know, I mean, that is amazing.
If you had enough initiative, like you look at like Kevin, I saw somebody talking about some comedian online talking about Kevin Smith and Tarantino making their own movies. Like with your iPhones now, and with all of the media editing stuff, and with AI, like what's stopping anybody from making their own like little homemade movie?
Oh, dude, that movie Chronicle was shot on the friggin' iPhone.
But that was 10 years ago. 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like what is stopping anybody? It's only the limit of your imagination that's stopping you right
what's stopping? But Clint, what's stopping people right now? It's, for example, if you film something in your phone and you go to Netflix, for example, they demand at least 4K quality on your film, and even if you record
Pedro,
a film,
I'd put it out online,
yeah,
and get all the clicks, and then I would show those clicks to all of the studios and say, this is how cheaply I made this movie.
Yeah.
Help me make my next movie because I can make a better one than this, and I can make.
I'm not.
The
thing's like, I'm not disagreeing with you, Clint. I'm
that's
just
your
telling you, like,
negotiating point, though.
I'm just like taking like the block right now.
Yeah.
Like you can't really film it, not even with a DSLR camera. Like you can make beautiful work with DSLR, but if you go to like big streaming like companies, they say like this is not in 4K. We need a minimum of at least 6K.
Your first one is just your foot in the door.
Yeah. Well, you guys, we are creative individuals. Can you guys see this black and white, the Indiegogo page?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we're here. Black and White Volume 3, Sins of the Father. Yeah, we are in the indie market. We are crowdfunding. This is the way and the place to be these days if you're going to be creating comics. And that's what we are doing. So this is my newest, installment in this crowdfund realm, and is called Black and White Sins of the Father. Here is the video.
Nice.
Yeah, you guys, we are at 33.95. We just turned this bad boy over yesterday, so thanks to all the backers that helped. And let's keep the backing going. We are closing in on 500 backers now. Usually you need about 1,000 backers to make these things, dare I say, profitable, doable. And we still have a little bit of time on this campaign because I'm going to keep it open as long as it takes to finish the book. And so this is the book, Sins of the Father. This is volume 3. There are 2 parts to this story. So 3 and 4 are going to be the Sins of the Father storyline. And we got some interiors here. It is written by me and Aaron Sparrow and Pamela T-Bear, whoever that is. Who knows who that is? We got Alan Patrick on breakdowns and me doing finishes, and Brian, the amazing colorist. Hey, how do you say that? Magnia? Nah? I don't know how to say it. But it's a 64-page. We're about 30 pages into it. So almost 30 pages, like 29 pages, I think. So we are working, we're going strong. And speaking of working and going strong, this is Pedro Ang, CG's own Pedro Ang, heading up Black and White 2. This is the High Octane Adventures series that we're doing. And he will be writing, penciling, inking, and doing beautiful color work. And Pedro is killing it. He just turned in a batch of pages today, and they look absolutely fantastic. So you guys back that bad boy if you haven't. Here's some of the interiors. And then we got 4 variant covers. We got the A cover, which is the robot cover. So Black and White beating the shit out of robots. And then we have the supernatural aspects to the story, which is Juju and Lord Fagin, the immortal Lord Fagin. So we got a little bit of supernatural here. We got a little bit of sci-fi here, a little bit of everything, you guys. We even got a cover from Carlo Barberi, who is the artist on Spawn right now. Nice. And of course, John the D. Malin dropped this cover on us a little bit ago.
John the D-Man.
The D-Man. And it's going strong as well. So I just want to thank all of you guys for supporting Black and White. We are celebrating 30 years of this IP. It's still going strong, and we do appreciate it. And let's get this thing to 500 backers sooner than later, and we will then be at our halfway point to triumphant success. So once again, thanks everybody who has backed it, and there's plenty of opportunity for more backers. Link is in the description. So get on it.
Actually, I would like to highlight what Silver Ogre is saying. Going back to the topic we were talking before. Yeah. That's the only thing that gives me fear about using AI technology.
Yeah.
That they will turn on every creative and say, like, whatever you've done with our software is ours now. That's the only thing that gives me pause.
They do it anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing is you can be scared of it. You being scared of it isn't going to stop them from doing it.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean
Marvel had they don't believe in contracts or anything like that. But in the day when they had vouchers, so you fill out your voucher, right? On the back where you sign the voucher, like the voucher is just like I did 3 pages at this amount, blah blah blah, right? And so, but on the back, it has all this legalese that is tightly written, and then you sign your name after the legalese, right? And in the legalese, in the small print, it says you give up your right to the original pages, you give up the right to anything you created in the book, blah, 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 boom, boom, boom. And the thing is, to sign the voucher to get paid, you sign the contract. Like it's bullshit, right? They should be 2 separate things, but they're not. So to get paid, you have to sign their bullshit contract. It's evil. It's freaking evil, right?
Wow.
There's no winning, Pedro. The only way.
There is
you create
winning.
something of your own and you control it.
Yeah,
that's the only time you win.
Mm-hmm. That's it. I mean, that's the only way to win. It's basically
and sometimes to get the audience. Get the audience to create something of your own that you own and it will be successful. You have to work for the man to make a name for yourself. This is, you work for the man, you make a name for yourself, and then you create something on your own that you control, and that's where the money is.
Wait, so Pedro, you had a way that you could do it? What did you say? I didn't hear you.
Oh, that's the thing. Like, be knowledgeable of what kind of software you use. For example, if you use Adobe AI tools, you're giving away your art. That's why I just don't use any Adobe products anymore.
What if you use illegal downloaded off of pirate sites, old school Adobe that isn't licensed?
That's something you shouldn't say on stream, Clint.
Okay, I never said it.
Yeah, exactly.
What? But the thing is, Pedro, if you're working for a company, that hired you to do that, you're gonna work under their restrictions and their whatever anyway. So if you're working for like freelance for Marvel, DC, video game company, Blizzard, whoever it is, it's gonna be the same thing. I mean, you're pretty much giving everything up.
Yeah.
That
for example,
create.
I have a couple of friends who make video games, and they're a nice cabal of like 14, 16 people doing video games that are not famous. I mean, you might not know the games they make, but they use software they buy. It's not like a subscription model like Adobe. So whatever they do is theirs, and their teams are like 4 or 5 people. The games make like $300K. They divide it among 4 people. I think that's the way to go. More so.
But you're talking about being independent of those
completely.
Things.
Yeah. Completely.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what we're doing. Saying. Like if you work independent, then you're not a slave to anybody, and you can own things outright, which is what we're doing right now.
It's harder, but it's the way.
Well, yeah, because you don't have the marketing machine, and you don't have, like if it's Marvel or DC, they have decades and decades of, legitimizing themselves, branding those characters, things like that. And we simply don't have the deep pockets or, 70 to 100 years or however long it's been, to brand these characters. But, work independently. But there is an addendum to this. Like if you're working for a corporation, and the masses have to work in a certain way. It's always about leverage. If you have leverage and they want you, then you can dictate terms. So you can kind of change the structure of things, but you have to be in demand. You have to have that leverage. And there have been times in my career that I've had the leverage and I can do those things. And there's times when I couldn't do anything. You know what I mean? My hands were tied and I just had to take whatever they give. And that's just the way the world works. Like even if you worked a Joe job, if you have something to negotiate with, then you're going to be better off than if you have nothing, obviously.
Yep. I mean, most of my life, I've been like that. I've been working for people, doing commercials. It was artistic work, but I didn't own anything. And the pay was good, but after all these years, what do I have? I don't know.
But as long as the pay is good, see that's
exactly.
a trade-off too. If the pay is good, then you can go, well, I'll give a little bit to get something in the moment. But long term, not so much. Hey, one thing we wanted to do, and this will be good because we'll end the show this way, is I think it was last week, maybe it was Bob brought up like, let's do like toys that we grew up with, like our time. And I think
mine is gonna be a sob story. So
no,
you had no toys. Yeah.
No. We haven't done enough depressing shit tonight.
No. The thing is, like, it was good, but the reason why it's good, it's kind of sad.
So, okay, well, we'll get to it.
We'll get there.
You guys prep. Let's see. Let's just do it real quick. Okay. So my youth was 60s, right? So I was born in 61. So most of like the toys till I was like 10 were from that time. So Clint, what was your kind of decade?
My decade was definitely the 80s. But
Okay.
the toy that I'm going to bring up, so like probably my toy era was late 70s to 80s. So it's obviously all the Star Wars toys.
Well, we'll get into it. I just want to do it real quick. So Bob, what was yours? Your decade?
70s and 80s.
Okay, and Pedro?
Because I was born in
70s and 80s. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys will have a lot in common.
It's weird how we're all about the same age.
I'll be the oddball out.
Yeah.
But do you have something, Clint, like that you could like? Because this is going to be show and tell.
Do, and I'll preface this with, this was just handy in my room, but like Star Wars toys, and then definitely He-Man toys. Like I had Castle Grayskull. I had Battle Cat, He-Man, all the Merman, Ram Man, Beastman. I had all those guys. Probably even more so than the Star Wars toys, because when Star Wars toys, I was young, or I had to beg my mom to get them for me in the store. Or He-Man, I was like, oh, I can just go buy the He-Man. But for whatever reason, I've got this in my room. I've had this since I was a little kid. And like literally, I think I have beaten... Like I've beaten off like people like trying to steal and rob from me with this Mazinger.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
And he's missing his fists because, of course, he's missing his fist because when you're a little kid, the first thing you will forget to do is bring back his fists when you've shot him. But like he's still prime mint condition because he's made out of like pure American steel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
boy.
This guy, I could club somebody in the temple and they would stay down with this Mazinger.
I'll have to correct you, Clint. That's not Mazinger. That's Grand Mazinger.
Okay. Yeah.
The second generation.
And I 100% that I am probably wrong about him because I had to like go look up what his name was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had this guy, and then I had the guy that had like the big pointy top somewhere, and then he had the screw hand.
Okay. That's
okay.
like,
So
I
just to
didn't
back
even
up, I don't know.
watch these
I'm
shows.
not familiar with the toy, Clint. So the hands were like spring loaded.
Oh
so
yeah,
they were like,
spring-loaded
like there was a
and
spring, and then there's a button that you push, and then the fists shoot out from the arm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The pointy one that you're talking about, did he have like the bladed fist arm thing?
The other one, not this guy, had the like this corkscrew fist, which was a spike, but it was corkscrewed like a drill.
That could be Get a Robo or
I had him. So are these guys Shogun Warriors or are they not Shogun Warriors?
Yeah. They were part of the Shogun Warrior line, I think.
Okay.
These more like straight from Japan kind of toys, or is this American?
From the
And
whole
so-
Super Mecha craze.
So I've got a little quick story. So I had these guys. I had the little like 5-6 inch die cast metal, but my buddy had the big 18 inch plastic Shogun Warriors.
I remember seeing those at shows. Yeah,
the top 3 Shogun Warriors. And that motherfucker would not let me touch those goddamn things.
I had
He always had the better comic book collection. He had all the John Byrne X-Men. He would not let me fucking read those. He had the Shogun Warriors. He was an only child. He had a waterbed in the 80s.
I told you this one we're going to be sad. I told you that.
I hate that motherfucker. That's what I'm saying is he had all the good stuff. So that's just a little bit of a rant.
Screw him.
So
Yeah,
the
exactly.
thing is, like, I remember this is still probably the 60s, right? So there's this friend that I had. He didn't live there long, but I don't know what nationality he was, but somehow he got these like Japan had freaking, even in the 60s they had great like figures. And he got all these kaiju monsters and shit. And I was like, fuck, where'd you get this shit? I mean, this is before the Godzilla craze, you know, before it really hit and stuff like that. I was like, where are you getting this shit? And he's like, my family lives there or some craziness. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And they were probably they weren't G.I. Joe size, maybe 8, 10-inch, whatever they were. And my gosh, just detail beyond belief. And I don't think they were kind of like that hollow, softer plastic. And I think just there was certain articulation, like the arms would kind of move or the head would turn, but they weren't like action figures of today. They were real basic. But man, I'll tell you, they were just out there just as far, because that was my introduction to kaiju. And those things still like freak me out. Some of those designs, they're like.
Did he let you play with them though?
Yes.
In your face, Clint. In your face.
In your face, Clint.
Hey, Art, share that picture I'm showing here.
Oh, okay.
Is this the other one you're talking about, Clint?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Get a Robo.
That's
Get a Robo.
Yeah.
Those were the two guys I still have him somewhere.
So that fist looks like the fist, and that looks like it shoots. Yeah. And is it like a corkscrew where you can like twist that thing?
It's like a drill. It's like a drill arm. Yeah.
Yeah, but like those toys where you could twist it and then release it, and then it would spin.
I don't
know. No, it didn't spin.
So. No. Usually their arms.
They missed an opportunity, man.
Their arms would they would disconnect.
Okay, I got something. This is gonna break your heart because this is from your timeline. Okay, so when my parents passed, we had no idea my mom had saved some of this stuff. So there's a little bit of toys from when I was a kid and from when my brother, there's 5 years difference, right? So when you're a kid, that's a big difference, right? I mean, that's almost like a decade, like difference in timeline. Sure. And so he had Transformer toys. Like I was older, and it's, what is it called? Something bug. The yellow Volkswagen one.
Bumblebee.
Yeah, the one other than Optimus Prime. Bumblebee. And you know how, Clint, you're saying like this is like American steel? This whole car was metal die cast. This thing was heavy, and it was good size. Yeah. Right? And that I should have kept it. I just gave it to somebody in the studio because I didn't appreciate it because it wasn't my timeline.
You don't know.
It was in great shape. I mean, there was a couple paint chips or whatever in it, but it was in great shape and it was fully articulate. Like that thing literally became a freaking robot.
Yeah.
Like I still can't believe somebody could figure this shit out because it was a full-on Volkswagen.
God
like
bless
you would
Japan.
swear this was like a Matchbox, like perfect, like sculpt of a Volkswagen, and then you could just start twisting things and whatever, and then before you know it, it's this full-on robot. And I'll tell you, man, I didn't grow up in that time, but when I got that toy after my parents died, I spent a ton of time because it's kind of like one of those
it's like a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of satisfaction, like just moving those limbs and shit. And I was like,
it's like a fidget wheel.
And the thing is too, those wheels, they were rubber. They weren't like hard plastic bullshit like that. These things were rubber wheels. Those things were made freaking well.
How much money did they put into those toys? Though?
I don't know, but the interior it's simplified, but it's there. You can see through the windshield. And then as you start changing it a robot, somehow even the interior becomes part of the robot design and stuff like that. I don't know how the hell they figured this shit out. And this is before computer programs and stuff like that.
These guys didn't go home to any wives.
No.
They went from the house to the bar.
11-year Toyota Corolla still runs like a dime.
Yeah, they went from the house to the bar back to the office.
But that's another regret. That Batman job, not taking it, and that damn Bumblebee car.
Yeah.
So Clint, what's that?
You going with Clint or who's next?
No, I want one more from Clint, and then we'll go to Bob because I figure there's going to be some overlap with you guys. So Bob, well, Clint mentioned He-Man. So what else do you got, Clint?
Oh, that's all I've got. I did not.
You had two toys. You had Shogun and you had
He-Man. I didn't dig out any of my He-Mans. I've got a Merman somewhere where I can still hit his head and he squirts water.
The water. Yeah, I remember that guy.
Okay, those things are all the same body sculpts, right? They just
they're
pretty
100%.
much.
But
to me,
the He-Man movie, this is the only extra thing I got. The He-Man movie is going forward on Amazon. They're sinking money into it. The guy they've got on He-Man, he's roiding up. He's getting
he looks good.
He's getting Alan Richardson big. And the thing is like woke is broke. The pendulum is swung. Maybe we can get some real decent movies that played in Middle America and aren't
you know what the problem is, Clint?
And I want He-Man to be the first one, man.
Yeah, but Clint, this script is 3 years old. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guess what, Pedro? They make switches to scripts.
Hey, they can rewrite.
Well, they're also
they can rewrite.
They're also making that big mistake.
Go ahead. Robert Downey Jr. was making rewrites. Favreau was making rewrites on the Iron Man set. So, these guys, they're looking which way the wind is blowing, and they're wanting their next job. So
they're also making the mistake of it being on Earth.
Yeah, they're trying to save money. Yeah, but okay. So Bob, what do you got?
Okay, so Clint.
Yep. Sorry.
You're gonna hate me.
No.
Because here's one of my toys.
Oh, you had the big boy.
It has the hands.
You had the real deal.
I had this is the these are the large Shogun warriors. This is you had the rockets that would fire.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Mazen Kaiser, yeah.
Yeah, Mazinga. But I also had
that's my gem. Those
the original Jetfire, which was the reason why the toy was so cool, because it was actually based off of the Veritech from the show Robotech. Yeah, and this thing was dope as shit.
Yeah,
those are wicked cool, man. The designs and stuff are just so.
And this is Japanese, so
must be nice to be a spoiled kid.
I also had the Godzilla Shogun warriors.
Nice.
So this is what he looked like in the front. He had the tongue there was a lever in the back of his head that you would flick, and his tongue would shoot out fire. He also has right there in his arm. His fist would shoot off.
Oh, cool!
That was a big thing in your time. Was fist shooting?
Oh yeah, pieces that would come off, and you could either poke your eye with or choke on.
Yeah,
there was all
good
sorts
times.
of choking hazards.
Yeah, I remember I got this. I walked in Christmas morning. My dad had it sitting out in the kitchen in the kitchen floor.
Nice.
And I was Godzilla, and then he was the Mazinger, and we were fighting.
Oh, that's cool. That's a good
so
Christmas morning.
That's you remember that kind of stuff.
No shit, man. Because I'm awesome, Bob.
Like I could go over here. I could start pulling out. I've got probably 20 friggin' Godzilla toys sitting over here.
Oh, that's kick ass.
I love Godzilla. And then of course the piece de resistance.
Jealous.
The original Millennium Falcon, baby.
When did the original Kenner toys come out? What year? 70? No, 80s, right?
80s.
Late 70s.
Yeah, I think it was either 9.
79 through 80 is when those first ones came out, when they realized.
But the Millennium Falcon came much later. Like the original characters were just the dolls.
The Millennium Falcon was later.
Yeah, I was about 9 or 10 years old when I got this.
The thing is, I was the right age to see the movie, so I was probably 11, 12, something like that, right? The original movie. But then the toys came out, it seemed like years later, it wasn't right away.
No,
and I was a little too old, right? So I couldn't really play with toys anymore. It's kind of a drag, yeah.
I begged my father to buy this thing for me.
Oh yeah,
and
that's awesome.
I remember the day when he had my mom take me up to Hills which was a department store that's no longer around.
Yeah.
And she walked over, took that thing off the shelf, and put it in layaway.
Oh, nice.
And she said, "Okay, now this is." And I basically had to, because we lived on a farm.
Oh yeah, so
I had to bust my ass all summer, and then on Christmas, she went and she got it out of layaway and she gave it to me.
Oh,
if I remember, yeah, that's awesome. Well, if I remember right, it comes apart or something, right?
Yeah,
so there's like interior
right here on the top. You can see the seam right there.
Yep, the top.
That back panel right there that comes off, and inside you've got like the play set where you've got the holographic chess table.
The chess table, yeah.
You got to see the cockpit also opens up, and you can stick.
And also there's a chair for the cannon. Like
right, yeah, and there's you can invert them into it, and then the cannon swivels.
So the thing is it in scale with the figures? Because those figures were pretty big, right?
Yeah, it's pretty close, yeah. But the cool thing was it also had the landing gear. One of the landing gear formed a handle. And you could hold the handle and you could make noise, and it had noises.
Oh yeah, there was like a trigger.
It would make the swooping sound and everything.
I remember the commercials.
Yeah.
I wanted that thing so fucking.
I have a friend that uses that shit to put his weed in. So when he opens his weed, it's really.
But I had this. I had
really cool.
I also had the. I eventually got the TIE Fighter and I got the X-wing.
Yeah,
and
I had the X-wing, I had the A-wing, and I wanted the B-wing, but I never got to.
Yeah,
I never saw it. Like I know they sold it at some point, but I never got to see the B-wing.
And then I think it was 1985, 86. My family moved from Ohio to Las Vegas. To Nevada, to Henderson, Nevada.
The toys didn't make the trip.
No,
right?
I sold them.
You sold them?
I sold them.
Dude, you know what happens to my Star Wars collection, Bob?
Yeah.
When I went to college, Columbia, like I had like like shelves with all of my Star Wars toys. My mom gave them all away to poor kids. I hate poor people ever since.
Well, I didn't do much better, man. I sold all my Star Wars toys for $50.
Ooh.
Well, hey Pedro, you just brought this memory to mind. Okay. Before every Christmas, my parents would make us clean our room.
Oh no!
And what that meant is toys that you haven't played with. You're on your honor system, but it wasn't really the honor system. Mom would go in there and throw shit away anyway.
Yeah.
And so basically you had to give your toys away to poor people.
Oh God.
Wow.
Every year. And so I guess the lesson was, you gotta, Christmas is a time for giving and forgetting.
Yeah. Like I actually looked it up.
It's a time for asset reduction. I think it's.
I looked it up years later, and I think if I still had my entire collection, I could have sold it even out of the box. I could have sold it for like a couple of grand.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
I sold it for $50
on the Bros the other night on Andy's show 2 weeks ago. We were doing Alex Toth, right? So like our tribute we were talking about, and so I have a couple Alex Toth. I forget which book it is. But they looked it up on the show. That book is worth $2,000.
Oh,
that's crazy! It's a book.
Dude, I even remember
art.
I even remember like where my mom took those toys. It's called SOS Villages.
SOS?
Yeah.
What is SOS? SOS is something say
help, like help. Yeah.
Right, but it means something. It's like ourselves, or I don't know. What does SOS? Maybe somebody in the chat knows.
So even just the Toth art book is worth 2,000 art?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Jeez, dude.
Just a reprint of it or something. Not
no, it's the original printing. And I guess
original printing, okay, but still that's
okay.
incredible.
So SOS is the international distress signal in Morse code.
Morse code.
So what it is in Morse code is save our souls or save our ship. There you go. You learned something new. There it is. Smokey.
Dude,
so Pedro, I feel your pain, brother.
Thank you.
So have you ever done that? You ever going like just to see how much the toys you had would be?
Oh, dude, like I drove really slow. Like because like I came to Panama like for vacations and whatnot, and then know the toys are there, and I'm seeing those kids with distended bellies and whatnot, and I'm driving really slow to see one of them little fuckers playing with my toys, but I would have run them over. I had a big car, man.
So like
go get a job, buy a sandwich.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
So that $6 million man figure we were looking at last week.
The panic eye.
In box, yeah. In box,
box.
the one I had, the Steve Austin figure goes for between $2,000 and $3,000.
Oh, dude.
And
that's a real nice weekend.
Even even opened, if you still have the box to put it in, it goes for like $300.
So the thing is with toys, it's always about the box.
Like,
if you just have the toy, it's like whatever.
If you got the original box, it's a big difference.
Yeah.
Remember the box base?
My old roommate through the 90s, he like bought all of that Marvel and DC stuff, and I know he's got it sitting somewhere, and it's in box, in crates, because he was one of those collector's nuts.
Okay.
But I don't know if any of that stuff from the 90s really jumped in value, because nothing ever really hit like He-Man or Star Wars or Transformers. It was almost like after the fact, like then they realized that stuff earlier was popular, and then they started cranking out just crap. And he had a bunch of the 90s stuff, but I don't know if any of that 90s stuff had value to it.
Well, like I know that didn't the USS Flag for G.I. Joe that came out in like the early 90s, right?
The G.I. Joe stuff?
Okay. The big play sets and stuff like that.
The giant play set.
Yeah, the aircraft carrier, because that's the most expensive one. That thing is worth like $25,000 today.
Oh yeah, I'm sure like one of the really big ridiculous things would be.
That's one of those things where you guys got to benefit from like my generation. So that like in the day there, like the Barbies were like the 12-inch or whatever they are. And so then like G.I. Joe was like the same scale. So most of that stuff they were big.
Yeah.
And so there was the oil shortage of the 70s or whenever it was. And so unless the toys were selling like hotcakes, like Barbie stayed in production, but like G.I. Joe and those bigger figures, they stopped making them. Yep. So then years later, your generation comes and they figure, well, there's still a market for it. So that's when is it the 80s?
Oh yeah.
So like G.I. Joe and like even the Star Wars figures and stuff like that.
Do you guys remember the Micronauts?
Oh, the Micronauts were awesome.
I had those. Yeah.
Dude,
the USS. The USS.
But let me finish my thought.
Yeah.
So the advantage you guys had was they were smaller, but they could create play sets.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you have a 12-inch figure like this, you can't create a Millennium Falcon.
You need a diorama,
it would be the size of your room. But you have a 6 or 8-inch figure, all of a sudden, you can build an aircraft carrier, or you could build these planes or whatever, like they did with G.I. Joe. And that's pretty damn cool, man.
Yeah.
And in-box, right now, there's an in-box value-graded USS Flag on eBay for $49,995.
$49,000?
Yep.
Wow.
Is that with the box?
It's in-box and it's value-graded, which means it's never been opened.
And that's G.I. Joe, or
it's G.I. Joe.
Okay.
Yeah, and because have you ever seen this thing? This thing is huge. It's like 7 feet long.
This is one of the aircraft carriers.
Yeah, it's the whole aircraft carrier. And I think I can't remember if but they made a jet. They made a F-14 Tomcat, and then later on they made another jet, and this thing was so big you could literally sit them on the aircraft carrier.
That's what I thought. Yeah, for some
Yeah.
reason I was thinking like there were these planes that were made as
So
well.
somebody who bought it back in the day never opened it. And
Yep.
Well, sometimes there's warehouses like there's stock that never sells.
Yeah.
And so sometimes people find these things.
And I'm not a baseball guy or a sports. Oh, well, I'm a sports guy, but Vikings. But like, and it's just what Bob said to me. So this is an unopened package of 89 baseball series, but this is Jose Canseco on the right card here.
Nice.
Wow.
On my fingers right here.
Nice.
And so I just looked up, and it's unopened.
Could
But
you open it so we can get a better view of it?
I'm going to hold on to it.
The plastic's kind of shiny, so it's hard to see.
But just the Jose Canseco card alone is $250. Nothing exorbitant, but like still $250 for a card. You know,
It's a card. It's worth $250.
Yeah,
I bought it in the
McDonald's.
late 80s. You know, it's probably 89, 90, somewhere in there, and it's just been sitting on the shelf. So.
Well, this is Pedro's. This is pretty damn cool.
I remember that turned into the gun. This was the best Transformer.
Oh yeah, dude. My friend, I wanted.
All
this
right,
one.
Pedro's up. Let Pedro talk about it.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Okay, fine,
Yeah.
Art.
Yeah, because this is the sob story. In my house, my dad was very like the macho guy, so he never bought the toys. My mom bought the toys. So in '84, he used to sell like forklifts and elevators. They sent him to Japan as a business trip. He came back to Panama with the only toys he ever bought from me and my brother.
Oh.
This is before they were Transformers. Like Megatron was called Gun Robot.
Oh.
So it's like, here you go. This is Gun Robot. I was like, okay, dude, this is so cool. It turns into a gun. But you even have like little like brown bullets. It was really cool. Then he bought that one. He brought this is Wheeljack.
Wheeljack, yep.
God damn, he found the good ones.
Yeah.
Dude, but these weren't Transformers. Like they didn't have like the Transformer logo. It was just says like Lancia Stratos. Like that's the like the car. That's what the box said. And he brought us
Soundwave. That's my boy. That's the one I had.
With the 3 cassettes. The robot, the eagle, and the
Laserbeak,
and
that Humble and Frenzy.
In Frenzy, yeah. So the thing is, like, my dad did this to us, and we were like, "Oh, you're the coolest! You're cool, the cool kids in the block. You have like Gun Robot and Lancia Stratos, and then Transformer comes out, and then me and my brother became gods in the street." How do you guys knew that this was Transformers? Like, and we were kids, we were lying. Like, well, the thing's like, my dad went to Japan and met with the production, and like he set up the elevators in that studio, so they gave him the robots as a gift. So, dude, it was years of lying, and yeah, dude, like it's the only time my dad ever bought us robots, and when he gave us like, and she still was playing like, you guys are playing with dolls. Like, no, they're robots.
It's an action figure,
Dad. So
well, Pedro, I grew up like everybody had like GI Joes, and also there was this toy. It was called Captain Action. So it was made by the same people.
Captain Action.
And so my dad was the same way. It's like, no son of mine is going to play with dolls.
With dolls, yes. My dad, I mean, God bless him. Like, I love him. Like, I'm not bashing him, but he never got childhood. Because, I mean, ever since he was born, he was working. He was living in the field. It was like, what do you do today? Like, I milked a goat, like stuff like that. And then
I got to buy some comic books when I went out and like spent the whole weekend cutting logs with my dad on the sawmill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
nice.
There was no like, and we all came up from that era because our dads were all from the generation before where comic books and cartoons were like, no,
like what are you doing?
You're 10, you're 11 years old. You can haul wood. You can cut this. You can do this chore. Let's go. Generational thing from that era. Like literally, like I spent weekends on the sawmill with my dad, and I got to buy a couple of comic books when we go to hunting season.
Yeah, did you make it?
Was my whole
did they ever make you like kill a pig? Like they made me kill a pig once, just because.
I had to gut a deer, and
nice, yeah.
I will never forget not enjoying how much reaching up to the inside torso of a deer.
And the thing is, like, the smell, your arm will smell like that for weeks.
No,
it's just
no. And I love
Pamela remembers that
small
stuff.
Animals, but gutting a deer is not a treat.
Yeah, Pamela, my wife, remembers that stuff because she grew up West Virginia. So chickens was the main thing. Chickens.
Killing chickens.
I remember, my mom would be like, "Go out and get a chicken for dinner," and I'd go out and just grab it and swing it around, neck. Yep.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Well, and you don't want them running around.
Dude, like our dad would give us like baby chicks, and I was like, name them. I was like, yeah, this is.
No, we didn't do that.
And they were like, yeah, we're eating him.
Just in case people don't know about this this YouTube channel, we're all country around here.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm telling you, man. Like after they would stop lopping, you could grab them by their feet, swing them around, and you could push the blood back into their thing, and you drop it. They'd start moving around again.
That's it's not cool. Not cool, man.
God, Art, what's with the redheaded doll, man?
Yeah, what's with
well, no. This is just like an overall 60s. So this is kind of what toys look like when I was a kid.
Oh,
so the cool thing is there's the Aurora model kits in the back. So there's like the Mummy, the Penguin, there's the James Bond,
cap guns, man,
and then Spider-Man.
We had cap guns that looked like real guns.
Oh,
you know what? 60s and 70s and 80s, man.
Yeah.
You know what's freaking me out?
7, those cap guns, those like you get your roll of caps. That was the best damn thing ever.
But guys, you know what's freaking me out? The balloon bender.
Yeah.
What the hell is that? Like a clown with? Like,
It probably just blows up balloons for you. The thing that kind of I don't think is true is like this Transformers. I don't think
that's too early. That's way too early.
Yeah, it's way.
Yeah, that's too early. The Hot Wheels. I mean, definitely that was a big part of my
and
childhood.
Matchbox.
And Matchbox, I kind of liked, but it wasn't as much as like Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels was, but Transformers was not in that era. That's 10 years too early.
Yeah, I thought so as well. And then of course the Corgi, the Tom and Jerry, but even that seems like a little later because like the Corgis from the 60s didn't look that cool because that's why Hot Wheels really stood out because they were really freaking cool.
That John Deere tractor there, that die-cast John Deere tractor, I had one of those.
Dude, that hot rod looks hot, dude.
Well, and I mean, I had one of those pistols and with a cap, and I love caps, man.
Oh
and
my
the
God.
smell of caps, you fire a couple of caps off.
You bust the cap,
going
you
up
smell it.
Like caps.
Yeah, that's where the saying comes from.
Yeah.
Bust the cap.
Bust the
yeah,
cap.
the thing is, you know, because westerns were big, so you had your 6-gun, then I never had a train in the day, but my brother did later. He had one of those HO ones, a little bit more detailed than this, but
Trains
like model
because then you had to have the whole train set and then a train,
and the room,
and that was like a whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then, of course, model kits were a big deal, you know, when I was a kid. I was still a little young for the Beatles, so there was no Beatles stuff. My sisters were into that. But then, of course,
the 12-inch G.I. Joes.
Yeah, of course, G.I. Joe, the scar on his, you know. I think later my mom bought some knockoff, you know, because she felt bad for us because we didn't have the G.I. Joes. So it was like Action Guy or some bullshit like that.
Art, did you guys have Migos?
That I was a little old for Mego. So the Migos were kind of the extension of Captain Action. Like they came out after that. So I think those things came out in the later 70s.
Okay. Because I remember
So I was
they
already kind of aged out.
They had the 6 or 7 inch Migos, and then they had the 12-inch ones. And I had
the 12-inch was not in my time. I do remember the 6-inch, the smaller ones.
Yeah, I had Spider-Man and the Hulk, the 12-inch ones.
Yeah, they were kind of cool, but the reason Captain Action I think was superior is because they had masks. Like the mask came on and off of the toy's face, so that was pretty cool. Like Maskatron.
Kind of remember the Marvel Migos because like Spider-Man had like a fabric
suit,
on his face, right?
No, he had a rubber head, but he had a fabric suit.
Fabric suit. That's what.
And the Hulk had like a torn shirt you could take off.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
remember
toys, Lincoln Logs. Yeah, I remember all this shit.
Oh God, like I said, I like talking about these toys and stuff. I probably played with sticks more than I played with anything.
Yeah, and the
like an actual stick from a tree.
Yeah,
when you're in me and Bob's age, you never got the full set of these
of anything.
You got pieces that
the
were
hand-me-downs.
The hand-me-downs.
Hand-me-downs. Yep, because we had
toys and Lincoln Logs that were left over and all the lost pieces, and you could never make the full fucking cabin or anything.
It was that way with Legos for me because Legos were expensive. And finally, when I got a little older, my brother and I got like a beginner set, and it probably cost my parents a fortune.
The big can, the big bucket like thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and there wasn't very many pieces, but combined together, we could kind of make something, out of it. And but you know what? It was fun for the time.
Yep.
And the thing about Lincoln Logs is you can really only make a freaking cabin. Like you can't really make much more.
But you know what's really frustrating, Art, is when you can't even make the fucking cabin because none of the pieces are left over. You can see how you can make the cabin, but all the integral pieces are gone.
Those green slats.
That is not a fun Sunday afternoon at your grandma's house where your grandma could give two shits about entertaining the kids. Or even turning the TV on. She just put a bunch of logs in front of you.
What's the worst gift you ever got?
That's just me. Sorry.
What's the worst gift you guys ever got?
The worst gift I ever got was a toy catalog.
Nice.
I didn't get the toy. I got a catalog.
This is pretty horrible.
That's for Bob.
Yeah.
Well, check this out. Okay, this is how much people trusted their children back then.
Melted
this
plastic.
isn't a vacuum form. This is heated plastic.
Oh, Jesus.
That they would vacuum form into toys.
Nice.
Yep.
So these were industrial tools.
Machinery, yeah.
For adults. And they were giving them to children. And look at the little girls like,
dude, that
I'm gonna burn my face off.
Wood burning kits, freaking
wood-burning
shrinkadinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I had Shrinky Dinks. I remember Shrinky Dinks. You had to put them in the oven.
Jeez.
I
melted
remember
plastic in the oven.
I had this nephew that was a pain in the ass, and he wanted like a superhero for Christmas, and I got him Captain Planet. Dude, he was so mad. But let me see if I can find the toy itself.
Hey, Captain Planet was cool.
Okay,
there you go.
He hated it.
Dude, those are the ones with like the really nice uniforms.
Yeah, so this is obviously the G.I. Joe Captain Action on the right with his ray gun. And then they had
that's cool.
They had these things called they were called Major Matt Masons. So they were kind of like bendable buddies. You remember those where they were just kind of rubber and they had like metal in them and you could bend them, the arms and legs.
Yeah.
And so they had these, and I remember when I was in elementary school, I had a friend because actually one of the Mattel plants was close by my house, and his mom worked there. So he got a lot of this stuff for like free or next to nothing. Wow. And so not that I had these things, but I had a friend that had a ton of this Mattel stuff. And I remember just so freaking cool, the Major Matt Mason stuff.
So I had a really bad knockoff of those called Big Jim.
Oh, those were Mattel, right? Yeah.
But it was like their cheap knockoff version.
Yeah.
Was that the one that had the airplane with it, and it was like a group of guys?
It was a group of guys, but he didn't have an airplane. He had a camper.
Oh.
There was this thing. It was
pretty gay.
Jim, but it was called the Pack.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah.
And then that was all Jack Kirby. Like Jack Kirby created the Pack.
That might be the one I'm thinking of, because I had one thing where it was like the side of an airplane. And then there were like characters that went with it, and they looked like Jack Kirby-esque.
Yeah, there was this guy with a metal hand, and he had karate chop action.
Yeah,
and then there was this Indian dude with a whip or some crazy stuff. They were like superheroes, but they were Big Jim, I think.
There was like one Indian guy and
one, my brother had those, and they had like some kind of action camper or something. You know, SUV,
it wasn't
an RV.
It was Big Jim's Pack.
Mm-hmm.
And you had Big Jim, the double choice. He had like the metal thing on his wrist. You had Dr. Steel. Dr. Steel had the steel hand.
Okay, I remember why my nephew hated this toy. Oh, and it's because of the ring. Because we told him he was the little kid from the Amazon, and he had the power of the heart.
Oh my God!
Like, no, say it, heart, and dude, he would just like chase us with a stick.
The Indian's name is Warpath.
Captain
Warpath
and the Planeteers. Some nice Neil comic book artist, the artist on the Captain
Adam?
Planet. Neil Adams. All over.
Yeah.
All over Captain Planet there.
You know what was cool as a parent? Okay, Art had an easy bake oven. I kind of did, because one of the things, like Toy Story made like a lot of these older toys like kind of cool again, so my daughter got to see Slinky and Slinky Dog and
were
all that kind of stuff. And so she had all the retro toys. Of course they were like reissues, or they were still making them, right? And so she had the easy bake oven. So in a way I did have an easy bake oven.
And that, when you were in the 70s and 80s, that happened all the time. You got the leftover toys. My sister had an easy bake oven. There was nothing to it.
It's a light bulb.
Were like busted.
Yeah, it's a light bulb.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But when you're like 7 or 8, there's a plastic thing there. You play with it. It's just.
Oh, dude! Like I remember, I had an uncle brought my brother and me like 6 luchador masks from Mexico.
Oh wow,
dude! That was also really cool. Like just going around like you're.
Kind of like a superhero.
Some of those masks were badass. They had like Mil Mascaras.
I remember we had like El Santo, we had Sandokan.
El Santo, yep.
Yeah, we had Sandokan, we had Blue Demon, El Pipiolo, and what was the other one?
El Santo was the guy. He did the one where he was like a secret agent, right? The movies.
No, the El Santo made like 9 movies.
Yeah, but he had like a couple of them where he was like a secret agent or something.
Yeah, he was a secret agent.
And one where he fought vampires. And
his best one is the El Santo y Mantequilla Nápoles, who was a boxer, versus La Llorona, which is like a witch. And dude, like you've never had much fun seeing a man beating up a woman.
Is the La Llorona or whatever? That's the lady that's looking for her children.
Yeah, where am I? Yeah, she's crying, like wailing, like where are my children? So yeah, they're beating up that lady.
El Santo would team up with Blue Demon, right?
Yeah.
And he like I remember one they work up against Frankenstein, Dr.
Yeah,
Frankenstein.
that's El Santo y Blue Demon contra los monstruos. So they're fighting Dracula, they're fighting Frankenstein, and they're fighting the Mummy. Awesome movie from the 70s. Yeah.
Okay, so I got one more thing. I didn't have this, but a friend had this, and there was a company called Whammo. And I don't know if you guys remember Whammo.
I remember Whammo.
Whammo.
But they like all the like the hula hoop and the wait, where is it? Hold on.
Oh, that's me. Shouldn't be
Hold
showing
on.
that.
Let me see. Screen share. Windows. Is this it? Let's see. Yeah, there we go. All right. So this was the Whammo. It was like the world's biggest comic book. You could actually like lay this thing on the floor and actually lay like inside the book and read it. You know how like when you're a kid you'd lay on your stomach and you read your books and stuff.
Yeah.
you could actually climb kind of inside this book. It was so freaking big, and it's kind of neat. There's some articles written on it, and there were a lot of like big name artists that worked on this at the time. So I think it was just like the world's largest comic. That was their whole thing, and it was what I can't. Let me see. I have an article. Maybe it has the size of it in the article, but it says the grand parade of comic oddities, always unusual. Whammo's enormously oversized introduction to the medium is so frequently admitted from the discussion. The most I've ever really heard about this book prior to buying it myself a copy is that it contained Wallywood stories. The largeness seems to have been the book's demise. What appears happened, according to the amateur detective skills, I would love to hear corrections, is that Whammo opted to release the book through a traditional periodicals distribution network at a whopping 14 by 21 inches. The comic book, then tabloid book, weighed in at 52 pages and was just a fucking burden, it says. Besides finding a place to display something like this, can you imagine a newsstand operating, having to successfully refold it after some idly curious kid pulled it out and started looking at it? Yeah, it's just unwieldy. If Whammo decided to never say that word, distribute the book as a toy store or department stores, and build a display within the toy departments where Whammo toys were already available, it might have developed a following. Unfortunately, this weird project tanks at one issue. Yeah, so this thing, I remember it as a kid because my friend had it, and they were so big, it was just kind of laying on his floor. You know what I mean? Like this book was just like in the middle of the floor. And I just remember.
Wouldn't fit in any shelf?
Well, you can't. It's freaking this big.
Wow.
And I just remember like flipping it open and just kind of inside of the book. You know what I mean? Like it's so big you can't really hold it up or anything. So you just kind of lay inside of it. Each panel is about the size of a normal comic book. Whoa. And there's all kinds of like Marie Severin and just like some early Marvel guys were working on it. I think even some of the Mad Magazine guys were involved with it. Just a bunch of like cool, people were involved.
Yeah, but as an artist, can you imagine the challenge drawing at that scope, like the level of detail you can go into just because you're drawing that big?
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know how big they actually drew these things because usually things are shot down. So if they were doing that,
I missed a little bit of the bean art. What was the actual dimensions of each individual page?
Oh, I might have closed the tab already. It was it's 14 by 21 inches.
Okay.
So 14 tall and no, that can't be right. It has to be 14 across, 22 inches tall.
So basically the double the size of an original art page.
Yeah.
11
it
by
has
17, you'd be going 22 by 30.
Yeah, that's a challenge and an opportunity all in one.
So just remember like those treasury size, remember those like dollar books when we were kids?
Oh,
those were almost original size, right? Those were about 11 by 17.
Yeah, they were.
So yeah, I guess like I think they were bigger though. Because if you put two of those side by side, I think it's still small.
We should do. I've got a few of those old beat up Treasury comics. We should do an episode of just about the Treasury comics because like there was the Superman versus Batman. There was a bunch of Spider-Man Hulk ones.
Superman was the first, and or was it? It was either that or they did they did like
the
this
Batman,
Wizard of Oz.
the Batman Hulk with Jose Luis Garcia.
That was later. That was later, but
it was much later. But yeah,
yeah. But the I think the first one was either the Wizard of Oz, which is strange, or it was the Superman Spider-Man.
Yeah,
but that thing's brilliant. That Superman Spider-Man is absolutely.
Well, and there was
brilliant.
two. There was the Ross Andrews, and then there was it Jose or what was the other one? I don't remember.
Well, the first one was kind of many hands. So there was like Ramita, like Senior was kind of like involved, but I think Ross Andrew might have done the bulk of it. But Senior came in and kind of like brought it together, like faces and stuff. And then like the DC, forget who the artist was, but I know Giordano was the guy that kind of brought it together. I don't remember who the DC artist was on that.
There was the Spider-Man, Superman versus Doctor Doom, and God, what was it?
The Spider-Man Superman was Doc Ock. The first one was Doc Ock, and it was Lex Luthor.
Yeah, and I did not have that one. I had the second one.
Okay.
Where it was Doctor Doom and the Parasite.
Okay.
And that's the one I had that I knew. And I've seen pages from the original one, the one you just mentioned, and I was like, God, I've got to get this book because I've never had that book. I've never seen the whole story.
And then there's the Superman Muhammad Ali. Yeah, we could do this. But you know how like you were showing stuff off? I'm gonna show I still have one boy, and I've showed this off, but it's my pride and joy. This was from my year. So this
Green
is
Hornet?
Yeah, the mid 60s.
The
Black Beauty. And it has the cool thing is it kind of has stuff like
wow.
You know, like the mechanism's not quite. Oh, there it goes.
It still works.
It just shut off.
Nice.
It still works.
Yeah, and then it has the cannons and
the headlights. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so the cool thing is
find that later on.
Yeah, this stuff's pretty clever because you can see the Green Hornet. He can do a drive-by. There's like a little lever.
Cool, man.
Jeez, look at all that.
And he can
very ghetto. He can do a drive-by
mechanisms.
Yeah. And then they reissued these. So I don't have this from my childhood.
Oh,
but this
nice.
is the 66 Batmobile.
Nice.
And from what I remember reading, this was the best-selling toy of 66. Because if you look up 60s toys, it just has a blanketed Batman. Like it doesn't say specific Bat toys. It just says Bat toys. So Batman was a huge selling toy for the mid 60s. And this has like a little blade that shoots out. Watch.
Nice.
So it has these little cannons here, and the flames kind of go back and forth.
That's the thing. That's what these companies are forgetting about right now. Is it's like put a little bit of money into entertainment for young boys, and then throw some cheap marketing out there, and you're just going to be printing money for cheap toys. Warner Brothers, Marvel, all this stuff. It's like you guys have lost sight of what the real plan is. You don't need to spend billions of dollars on CG and movies. Just make them somewhat interesting, and then put out a few plastic toys for cheap that kids are going to be begging their parents to buy. And like that's where the money is, and you don't have to do a giant investment in it. It's like it's how they forgot that marketing plan and where the money is to be made. It's all these Hollywood dumbasses that are like, oh, I have to tell a story. No, just do something entertaining that'll get young kids interested, and then sell them plastic toys for $10 a piece.
Those like if they made like with modern technology and stuff, if they made something like that Black Beauty, they did like like the freaking like the car, like the Dodge Charger from Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
You know,
but what about the director's vision?
Or like the modern day Batmobile from like the Nolan movies or stuff like that. And it had that kind of like ingenuity into it, like
that
little metal things like that, and just cool shit, you know, instead of like looking like a gaudy toy.
Like from your time, they had like little sound bites that the toys would have, like you could push the thing and it'd make like a revving engine
like
sound.
The Millennium Falcon, like I had, like that handle, like
I mean that shit's cool because like you know how you guys were talking like I don't know I forget what the Nolan Batmobile was, but if you had like an engine sound in that thing, like it could rev, and then when you roll it, it could make like boom, like it's moving.
I had
cool.
I had the kit, the Knight Rider kit that had the 10-inch Michael Knight figure, and it put it and it had 3 things on it, but it was cool as shit. It had the panel that would you put the batteries in, the panels would light up, the control panels would light up. It had the light going across the front, and the spoiler on the back of it. You press it down, and he would say like lines from the movie. From the show.
See that's the sound.
That was the shit, man.
Are cool, yeah. Because it's next dimension. It doesn't take away from the toy; it adds to it. What's that, Clint?
$4 at Walmart.
There you go.
Oh shit! You look like a badass. Look at that.
Or a nerd. But yeah.
Or a nerd.
I got malls over there somewhere.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
well, let's
cool,
start
man.
closing. Let's start closing up and give our pitches. So we have the Blue Bombshell, and it does return. And this is Clint's new book. Take it away, Clint.
You bet. Blue Bombshell is live in demand on Indiegogo, and I will play the trailer here. Get this book while you can. She's just an ordinary girl
living in a lonely world
with an amazing set of jugs.
I love that.
Yeah, the book is live right now in demand on Indiegogo. I'm gonna be releasing a lot more artwork probably about a month from now. I'm gonna do a big push at the end for when I completely close out the campaign. But I'm gonna release a bunch of artwork, a lot of teaser stuff. Probably closing out in April sometime, so everybody can see what's going on. But the closeout is coming. If you haven't backed it yet, back it now. Once it's gone, it's going to be gone. It's going to be gone probably in April here. So just, a little bit of a heads up. And I've had a huge fun time working on the book. Ton of great art. I'm going to be previewing soon. So
it looks great, man. It looks fantastic.
Nice.
And you guys, the link is in the chat. It's also in the description. So go pick up a Blue Bombshell. Do it tonight. Also, I am going to be closing this campaign down the end of this month. So this is Oodles of Doodles and other stuff too. Here's the video for this one, you guys. Let's get this.
Art T-Bear's Oodles of Doodles and Other Stuff Too is a 60-page, 9x12 hardbound book that will be printed on thick glossy stock paper and is a compilation of artwork from award-winning artist, Art T-Bear. This book is filled with images that come from Art's Marvel, DC, Image, and Comicsgate work. That includes convention doodles, commissions, creator-owned IPs, and pop culture subjects that Art has brought to life with his masterful draftsmanship. Art T-Bear's signature style is both lyrical and meticulously realized. The mastery of craft, seen in his work, owes itself to his 40 years in the comic industry, as well as viewing life through his own love of the art form itself. Fans of art prints have the opportunity to back one or both of the mini print tiers. Both are stunning collections of work that you can back individually or together as a bundle. Art T-Bear's oodles of doodles and other stuff too. Back it now on Indiegogo.
Do it now. So at the end of the month, we're going to be closing this thing out. This is my art book. It is printed and ready to go. So we got a couple orders earlier in the week, and I saw Pamela ship those things out already. So if you ordered this book, you should be getting it ASAP. So if you order it tonight, this order will go out this week. So you'll get this book very, very quick. Like I said, it is printed up and it looks gorgeous. There's also, here's some of the interiors. This is the back cover, a quote by Kevin Nolan, which was awesome. And here are some of the prints. We got print tiers that you can get. So we have Del Keown's Pit. We have the 11x17 Juju print, which has the 30th anniversary logo on there and her name. And we have the Set A print. This has got a gold, like a cool gold imprinted border around the image. They came out really, really cool. So these things are suitable for framing. The book comes signed and numbered. All the prints are signed. And then we have the B tier as well, which comes with the book. So there's a lot of stuff here to choose from, you guys. So come by, click that link. And if you like something, back it now, because it is not going to be around that much longer. So, so that's that. So thanks, Randy Howell, for putting that in the description. And we got Pedro. Pedro's got this killer YouTube channel that he's got going. So
you can share my screen right now and give you a preview of what we're doing. So yeah, join the Pedro Ang channel if you want to learn how to animate. Right now we're doing the bad news exercise using Alternate Comics' own King Cryptid. I asked Pete Media for permission and he graciously allowed me to use it. So right now what we're doing is an exercise where a character will hear some news and react to it. We don't get to hear the news, but we have to know they're sad through the reaction of the character. So this is like the first acting exercise we're doing. And wait, give me 1 second. Okay. And this is what we got so far.
Oh, cool.
So this is scene one. There's a second scene we're going to be doing. The backgrounds are already done, but I mean, if I put them against the rough animation, it's just going to look weird. But this is the cleanup without the. I've only cleaned one drawing, so we can see.
I like the style too. The trees look cool.
Oh, and it's very intricate with all of the background and with the character emotions and everything, the movement.
Yeah, and there's a nice like parallax effect. Like all of this is explained in the class. How to do a nice parallax effect using the distance between your levels. Like there's a graphic way I can show you how this looks.
Oh, that's crazy.
If you see it here, you see we got the tree is in the 12 field and the back trees are in a 32 field. So they're kind of at a distance. So when you move the camera, what's closer is going to move faster than what's behind. And that's how you create a parallax effect.
You're doing amazing work, Pedro. That's just
nice.
That's just amazing.
So yeah, and this is a model sheet like I developed for the. That's also in a prior class. Let me just go back.
Yeah, that animation is crazy.
Yeah, so I did a little model sheet. That explained how to do it in episode 14. I think we're on episode 16. I'm really happy. I just need people to find out what I'm doing and just hop in and let's learn. I want to form as many animators as possible because this is the time for indie animation, and we need people prepared for this. So hop in, Pedro Ang channel, the Animation Dojo.
Okay, you guys, click this link, go over there, sub to Pedro Ang's channel. Fun stuff, educational, and this guy really knows his shit. So also, just another reminder, Black and White, Sins of the Father, Volume 3 is in demand right now, and I think we're closing in soon on the next stretch goal. So you guys go over there, see what you like, back it. Clint is in the description. My two are in the description, and I do believe Death Raider is in the description as well. So click on those, and then of course, Pedro. It doesn't cost anything to go to Pedro and sub, so
yeah,
go do that. And Bob, you got a parting shot, closing comment?
Not really, man.
Fuck the Democrats.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we want to thank everybody for hanging out with us. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks to all my Pontificator brothers. And we will see you next Wednesday on another breathtaking adventure. See you guys. Have a good night and take care.
Yeah.